Awesome talk, awesome talk. We got some awesome talk today. Awesome talk, oh, awesome talk. You all like the way we talk. It's awesome, awesome talk, oh, awesome talk. You like the way we awesome talk. It's awesome talk, fucking awesome talk. You like the way we talk. It's fucking awesome. Woo-hoo. Yeah.
I really dislike for some reason. I can't wrap my head around him being president yet.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
We can't hear you.
Huh?
I can't hear you in headphones.
You can't hear me in the headphones. How
And if I
about now?
Yes.
I can hear you now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes. All right.
All
We're
right.
live.
Welcome, everybody, to Awesome Talk. Can you mute your mic for a second?
Ugh.
Welcome to Awesome Talk, Quarantine Edition number 27 on April 2nd, 2021. Tonight we have a great show for you, as per usual. I want to say hello to everybody who's in the chat already. My mom is in the chat. Frankie V is in the chat. Rob Marchi, where the hell are you, dude? Where are you, brah? Come on, brah. Tonight we have a great show for you tonight. I said tonight twice in the same sentence. So tonight our special guest is Jordan Manglona. Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man.
Dude, it's good to see you, dude.
Yeah. How you doing?
All right. And it's funny because we've already had this conversation. Now I have to act like I'm seeing you for the first time.
Yeah, no. We always
Um,
have to try it out, like, yeah.
Yeah. We gotta get trailing. Dude, it's good to see you. I'm so happy that you're here tonight. There is so much going on in the world to talk about, folks. So much going on in the world. And I struggled with what to start with this evening, but I think that I think I figured it out. I think I know what I wanted to start with. So Blaze made a post yesterday about music. And I wanted to talk about his post because I thought it was intelligent. I thought it made sense. And I also think that I agree with him, not 99% of the time. I agree with him typically 100% of the time. And he said something that, I wasn't sure if I agreed with, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. And he said that he wondered if Lil Nas X and Cardi B, are they taking more shit for what they do because they are people of color? If they were white, would the shit that they're taking, be less? And I just want to start by saying that 99% of the time, I agree with this notion. I've certainly come to be far more aware of the fact that we live in a world with a lot of shadow realities that like if you don't experience it, you don't realize it's going on. And I agree with that, and I understand how every time a person of color does something, it could be taken worse, or it is taken worse. But when it comes to music, I wondered if it was a little bit different. Because to me, it seems like the type of conservative tight asses that get offended by music or typically are racist, it's not necessarily the race or the color of the musician, but typically the message they attack. So when I look at what Lil Nas X is doing right now, and I look at the shit that he's taking right now, which, by the way, he loves it. And I love that he loves it because I think he's great. But I've seen this before. And the shit that he's taking and the shit that he's stirring up reminds me of Marilyn Manson in the 90s. And the shit that Marilyn Manson stirred up. And that had nothing to do with race. And so I'm curious if you guys feel like, and we have different generations on this show right now, even though we're all young and beautiful. But I wonder if music hits different. Is it the race of the person that creates more of a shitstorm? Do they take more shit?
I don't think it helps.
Go ahead. Who said that? What?
I said I don't think it helps. I don't think him being gay helps either.
I agree with you.
I think it's the combination of all three: the Satan shit, the being gay and being black. You know, it's like a trifecta of conservative hate. You
Sure,
know, like it's like everything they despise.
sure.
You know,
But for me, I feel like the same people who are attacking him are attacking him in a similar way that they attacked Manson back then. And the only reason Manson is my like go to in terms of an example is because in terms of controversial figures in music, I feel like it's been a long time since somebody has presented themselves in this way, and it's been a long time since I've seen this particular controversy take hold the way that it is.
With
And
Satanism or with just in general being like controversial?
the Satanism for sure. You know, because Manson was attacked because of, and obviously I'm talking about old Manson. I'm not talking about the most recent shit. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before that. And the Satanism thing, but the other thing is back then people attacked Manson for his sexuality back then too, because he would do things on stage that would mimic him being, you know, gay or bi or whatever. And I feel like he took shit. He had to cancel his tour because of Columbine. He had nothing to do with Columbine. The Columbine killers didn't even listen to Marilyn Manson. But because they dressed in black and so did he got such an unbelievable level of death threats that he couldn't leave his house anymore. He couldn't go on tour anymore. He had to get off the radar for 2 straight years before he could come out again over something that fucking he had nothing to do with, period, at all. Even when it was common knowledge that the Columbine shooters didn't listen to him. The attack didn't stop there. So what I wonder is I get the comment. I understand the comment. I understand where the comment is coming from. But I wonder if when it comes to music, if there's a certain just criteria that attacks everyone.
I think yes and no.
Okay.
But I think in this case, it's more so the fact that he's gay and he's not ashamed of it. And I mean, I can't think of a mainstream artist that had a music video that was so, at least not one that comes to mind immediately, that was so like outwardly or overtly gay. I think that is a big thing. And also his fan base before he put out this music video was mostly children. And I think that, you know, that's not fair on him, but I think a lot of like, you know, like they did the same thing with Britney Spears too. Like a lot of parents are like, ooh, she's too provocative. And like they did the same thing with Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga put out her music video for Alejandro and people were like, nah, this ain't gonna fly because, you know, she was using Catholic iconography and like it wasn't okay. But I think in this instance with Lil Nas X, the biggest thing is that he's just being who he is. He's out there being gay. People threw shit at JoJo Siwa. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but she's like a famous YouTuber and she came out as gay and she just came out. She didn't do anything controversial. She just was like, this is my girlfriend. And people flipped out about it. Oh my God, you're my kid loves you. I'm never getting any of your stuff ever again. I think the big thing, aside from him being black, is just him being gay. I think that's the big thing there.
I also think being a gay rapper is a huge thing because like whether or not you're okay with gay people, which is ridiculous, you aren't surprised if it's a pop star. You're not necessarily but in like the rap community, if you're gay, like it's kind of a secret. Like, trust me, there are more gay rappers out there who never tell anybody and are scared to tell anyone that they're gay. I can absolutely assure you of that. And I think the idea of an openly gay rapper is like really triggering for some people. It's like you're not supposed to be those two things.
There is one.
There was a conspiracy back in the day, actually, about the music industry trying to make this happen. Trying to make rappers gay back then, like late 90s and
100% right. Yep, that is a conspiracy. Yep.
Remember that? And
Totally,
like,
I remember.
It's almost like everything that they were saying that we were like, oh, that's crazy. Now it's like actually happening, and it's like, oh, well, maybe they were onto something. I don't know. Like, that's weird. It's a fucking weird thing to say, but like,
there's not a lot of mainstream.
Probably just the ramblings of a weird guy, but still, you know.
There's not a lot of mainstream out there, though.
You're
There's
right.
only one.
And it's not because they don't exist. It's
Yeah.
because there's a level of fear with being in the rap community and the backlash that would come from that if you were out. And like, so like, in my opinion, I'm like all for it. Like, good. There should be more rappers that have that manage to feel the freedom or courage or whatever to come out, because think of how many people are rap fans that are gay, that that seeing that no one in the community is out feels that, all right, maybe it's better if I hide it. Maybe there's a reason why I should hide it. And like, so dude, I'm all for it. And anyone who's a rapper out there and you're gay, let us know.
There's one that comes to mind, young Ma, who's like I think like a couple years ago, she kind of blew up with her like one song that she had, and even like she herself, being a gay woman, had to come out and be overtly masculine, to the point where it was like she was being really misogynistic in her lyrics and like saying things that were like kind of fucked up. But I think this is a watershed moment for like hip hop in general, because like we've never had, and again, I don't know, from what I know, I don't think I've ever seen a gay hip hop artist come out and make a video and be so proud of their fucking selves and like be okay, like, I'm fucking gay and like, here's my music video, deal with it. I think it's great, but I don't know that race necessarily has a huge part to play in it, because you think about like Metallica, you think about like Lady Gaga, you think about Britney Spears, you think about other, like you said, Manson, who came out and did things that were like kind of out of the norm and totally controversial and like had this shock value, this shock factor. Like even fucking Miley Cyrus, when she went out on stage, when back in like the VMAs, and she was twerking on the, what's his name, Robin Thicke. I mean, I don't think it's, in this case, it's necessarily the race thing. I think it's more the sexuality thing.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. I think that if he had made a similar video that was straight, I don't think we would have even known the video existed. I don't think anyone would have ever heard of it. I don't think it would have gotten even half as many views. I don't think anyone would have given a shit literally at all, because that's what they expect. Oh, here's a rapper making a typical video where he's talking about females.
Yeah.
And no one would have cared. So, yeah, I think it's all sexuality.
I also think that there's a fame ratio.
The song wasn't even that good, though.
I know, man.
That song slaps. Don't even tell me that. I love that song.
I was going to say there's a fame ratio here, too. Like sometimes, like take comedians, for example, right? The more underground you are, the more you're allowed to get away with. The more mainstream you are, the less you're allowed to get away with. And that's what I've known. Like, nobody attacks Doug Stanhope for the shit that he says the most, hands down, they're intelligent, but the most fucked up jokes you could possibly make on earth, and no one gives a shit. But if Bill Burr says the wrong thing, I mean, Bill Burr's good at handling it, but if he says the fucking wrong thing, he's put on the in the spotlight immediately. So when you take a guy like Lil Nas X and how like famous he is, like everybody keeps making the comparisons with like death metal bands, and everybody thinks that that's an equitable comparison, and it's just not. Because the problem with death metal bands is no one gives a shit who they are, except people who listen to that kind of music. Those bands don't capture the attention of the general public. Lil Nas X did. So, like, to me, there's this thing where it's like if you reach a certain height of fame, it's like you're not allowed to cross certain lines anymore.
By the way, Nike is like suing the shit out of them or something, because they're trying to stop all sales of the shoe, and they're telling them to recall them.
I'll bet he loves every minute of that.
And refund it. Apparently, from a thing that he said like today or yesterday, it's taking his toll on him, and he's not loving it anymore. So,
wow. Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking with that.
Can you really take from everybody? I mean, he's getting attacked financially now, all sides.
Sure.
So
I don't know. Maybe one day people will stop caring about what other people do and don't do that they have literally no control over because that's the way they were fucking born, and we could all just move the hell on. Like,
Yeah,
we're
well,
literally in the
yeah.
middle of a goddamn airborne
Like,
killer virus
yeah.
pandemic, and we're worried because someone's too gay for us. Like, get the fuck over yourselves.
It's extraneous hate, extraneous judgment,
Yep.
and like on every side of that spectrum, it just hurts other people. Like,
Yep.
for for really
Didn't Doug
boundless
Stanhope
reasons.
didn't,
Like,
didn't Doug Stanhope say once you go white, you go right back to black? Wasn't that one of his intelligent jokes there?
I don't know. I don't know what he said. I've heard
Yeah.
Doug Stanhope make jokes. If you want to hear the most fucked up joke you've ever heard in your life, look up Doug Stanhope, Sarah Palin, and listen to him talk about Sarah Palin. And this is where we have a disconnect between the generations too. When I listen to Doug Stanhope talks about Sarah Palin's like disabled child being born. And he talks about how the Secret Service should have shot it on the way out. And what he's doing is he's not making a joke about the kid being disabled. He's making a joke about how Sarah Palin is a hypocrite. And that's really what he's saying. But if you just listen to the words and you don't apply that, that level of critical thinking to it, you won't get it. The words alone are that's the most offensive joke I've ever heard in my fucking life. Hands the fuck down. And I think that where we're at right now is people hear certain words and they're triggered instantly, and it doesn't matter what they mean. It doesn't matter what they say. It just matters you said these words, and these words mean this thing here on the chart, and that's who you are. So I wonder if we've moved past that point where you can't just say whatever you have to be more thoughtful when you tell jokes, I think now. And that's been a hard thing for me to swallow too as a fan of comedians. It's been a very difficult thing for me to swallow because as somebody who's a fan of dark comedy, I listen to people get like freaked out by certain things they hear, and I go, wait a minute, if you take a second, like I've heard people freak out about Patrice O'Neill, and I don't know if anybody here ever listened to Patrice O'Neill. But I've heard them freak out about the things that Patrice O'Neill said, that they were sexist and all this other shit. And I was like, yeah, but I understand that the words he's choosing are sexist, but I also understand that he is mocking himself and he's mocking his own generation. And it just takes a little bit more time to absorb what the fuck it is he's saying.
Well, Jordan's an actual comedian. Have you ever
Yeah.
felt that there was a time where you made a joke that had a deeper meaning and your audience was just like, well, that went over our fucking heads. Screw this guy.
I don't know. I think I can go for that. Like I like when it's like a room full of like, I miss performing like so much, man. This is nice to be in like a pseudo room. So like, appreciate you. I like that you said actual comedian. I'm gonna like call myself that. Like Jordan Manglona, yeah, actual comedian.
I wish I had
but-
put that in the intro.
No, yeah, no, but you're Rick is bringing up good points of just like, it's like so many good comics will say like really, like they'll cross the line, they'll like really play with the line, but like a good audience or like a good fan like of their work, or like especially if it's a good joke, like they get the intention. Like that's why it's funny. You wouldn't laugh if you knew that it was like coming from a terrible place. Like, because comedy can be used to just like belittle people and like pick things apart. Like it's like a double-edged sword, or it's absurd. Like it can be absurd, Yeah.
Have we gotten to a point that where comedians have to be more thoughtful? Because when I watch Bill Burr, and I use Bill Burr as an example because he's an old white guy. And when I watch Bill Burr, I've realized that as his comedy has evolved over the years, the way he approaches certain subjects, whether it comes to sexual orientation or race, he approaches it in a way where it doesn't feel offensive. And if he had approached it from a different perspective with the same jokes, it could have felt horrible. So is there now a level of awareness that you think comedians need to have that maybe back in the day, the Eddie Murphys and George Carlins, and they could say more without having to worry? I guess is my question.
Well, I guess I'll bring up, like, what's this guy's name? It's not Bob. I'm thinking of Bob Ross, but it's not Bob Ross because that's the artist. Like, that's the painter. But like he does all the roasts. It's Jeffrey Ross.
Jeffrey Ross,
okay.
yeah.
No, he's talked about like the reason like so many roast jokes work is because like they come out of a place of love, even if it seems just like to really just stab at the like heart of a person. Like if it comes from hate, it's not funny. It never feels funny. You can tell when like there's like a shitty like close-minded comedian. Like you can tell if it's ego talking or if it's like, no, he's doing it for the idea. He's doing it for the craft. Like Bill Burr does it for the craft. He just these people live to improve upon this thing that they respect. This like to add. That's like, I don't know, man. That's why I love it, because it's like. I'm a big fan of one-liners and like. I just think it's. What was that?
You regularly hang out with groups of people who perform comedy.
I used to, man.
I mean, obviously, I know what you mean. But I wonder.
I feel you.
I wonder if these conversations are taking place. I wonder if comics are
they've been taking place. They've been taking place for the last like decade.
Yeah.
Like it does. It's weird, man. It is an evolving thing, because it's like. I think it's just making. I think everyone just is evolving conscious-wise, like whether you like to or not. Like we're just getting more connected with, like, because of technology. Like I have a VR headset.
Have you ever? Oh my god, I love VR. It's my favorite thing.
I do too. I love painting in it. Like,
dude, we have to do a virtual reality ping pong sometime.
Dude, can we play Sculptor VR? I'm sorry to like completely deviate. I have ADHD. I should let you guys. I'm an ADHD advocate because I have it.
Welcome to the club.
I'm trying not to be. I appreciate the welcome. I appreciate not being alone in that. But yeah, sorry.
What I was going to ask was, have you ever had a performance coming up, and there was a joke in your performance that you were on the fence about how it might be received, like really one that like you agonized over?
Yeah, and like sometimes you like I've taken so that like I've always been faced with that risk, and sometimes you flip the coin and you're like, I'm gonna just try it, and then it doesn't work in front of like 400 people, and you're like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. But like. No, it's happened a few times where like I was like, this is gonna work. It's the idea is funnier than the offense, because like me and my friends talk about that a lot. It's like people go through enough, especially like today. Like no one needs any more negativity. Like like everyone talked like crap about Hannah Gatsby, but I think she was right about like the whole self-deprecation thing. Like. It's kind of an old 80s thing.
Such an amazing performance.
It's incredible.
I appreciate that.
I was like, Rick, you have to watch this. This was like that Hannah Gatsby performance. I wish everyone could see it, because that was like that. I wouldn't even call that like a stand-up performance. It was almost like a motivational speaking.
No, it was like a TED Talk, but it was cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So it reminded me, strangely enough, of something Andrew Dice Clay once said, which I've said in this show before. If you've ever heard The Day the Laughter Died by Andrew Dice Clay, there's a moment where he says during that performance, which a handful of people attended, and he said, this is not about laughter, it's about comedy. And I always thought that was a really genius thing to say. And when I heard that act, what you guys are talking about right now, that's what I thought about. Because she was able to make jokes, but also tell a life story at the same time. And it got dark, and then it got light, and then it got dark, and it got light. And it was like some next level comedy fucking performance, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you okay, so I wanted to answer, I completely deviated, but like, you ask the question of like, is it getting harder for people to like, to say whatever they like? I don't know. I think this like is forcing people to be more creative within like to be able to make like a stone cold like I'm not gonna laugh at anything like even just like an extreme liberal or extreme conservative to be able to get them to laugh like that is like breaking into someone's brain almost and just being like sorry like it's funny you can't deny like funny if it's funny like and it kind of I don't know. I'm excited. I heard Dane Cook actually talk about just like that whole like machismo, like the thing that kind of took comedy by a stranglehold for like 20 years. It's kind of just like there's just so many genres now. Everyone's like, no, we just have to like, who needs another like that guy's so gay? Like who needs that kind of joke anymore? People like I still see like like my peers doing that kind of material, and I'm like. I don't know. I'd rather you be absurd and like be completely original, like,
Yeah.
instead of just like rehash this energy that you looked up to, like when you were growing, like it's, not to invalidate it. Like,
Do you
I
feel
grew
like,
up
and this
loving Jim Carrey. Like,
this is for everybody. Do you feel like there was like there was comedy that you would laugh at a certain point in your life, and now you hear it and you go, if I heard that today, it wouldn't be funny, but I can appreciate the time it came out and what was going on and what was acceptable at that time, even though I know it's not acceptable now.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Andrew Dice Clay, Eddie Murphy.
Rodney Dangerfield,
yeah.
dude.
Dude, just
Rodney
making
Dangerfield,
anybody.
those old
you
school
go.
one-liner guys, those old guys that the ones that would drop every misogynistic kind of it's 1950s dad humor, like the kind of shit that like it and what's crazy is it was edgy then for them to do it, but it was deprecative to other people it was at the expense of people who probably weren't in the audience. For a majority of the people that were not in the audience, it was a targeted audience that made it funny for people because it was those who were not socially acceptable. So the gay jokes, the jokes about, if you listen to Dangerfield, actually, Rick, when you say Dice, like, I think Dice holds up in such a weird way. He's offensive on purpose, and you know what you're going there for. It's just that his is very misogynistic most of the time, and it's totally that late 80s. I pictured Dice Clay as like that late 80s groupie hair rock kind of comedian.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what he is.
Yeah.
Right. So like even the people that were in those bands, I mean, that whole idea of rock stardom in the 80s and 90s of just, you could piss on women and it was just going to be all right. It was going to be hysterical to make jokes about. I think that was the way that it was accepted. I don't know, Rick. I think when you ask that kind of question, there's so many people out there that even today, some of the jokes, I like the ones that are realistic, but the ones that reach really hard to like, I don't know. I'm going on a little bit of
It's
a
a
rant.
tough question, man, because when you're as old as we are, we've laughed at comedians in the past that I don't think I'd laugh at now if they were new.
I don't laugh
And that's
at them
weird.
now. I watch some of their comedic specials now, and I'm like, some of it's fucking cringeworthy, dude. It's like, oh god, we were like that. Like,
it's like,
and I think
do better.
When you were talking, like before we kind of, I mean, I came in a little late here. I apologize, but the we talked about several topics in the last like 7 minutes. It was like 7 different things, but one of the things I wanted to say just based on the comments here is, isn't this fucking exhausting? Like, isn't it exhausting to hate? I thought about this earlier this week, and then with the shootings, I don't know if you guys saw that shooting that just happened where the dude fucking locked the door and then went and killed 9 people that he knew in one building in Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, I then look at the responses of people, and I'm watching people respond, especially to the pandemic and restrictions that certain governors, especially with like now with Florida, because Florida's been like all over the fucking map with this pandemic shit. And people's opinions about Murphy or people's opinions about the Florida governor or Cuomo, and then what those conversations kind of decline into, and the things that you hear people say and the way that they talk, and it kind of goes along with everything we're talking about here, but like in general, how do you live your life constantly just fucking hating on everything? I don't understand how you could have so much disdain for things to where it dictates your life that you feel you need to fucking comment on everything, and you've got to actually you have to try to hate. That's the fucked up part. Like, you have to
Hate takes work.
want to fucking hate something. It's exhausting. If you really give a shit about homosexuality in a negative light that way, that you care that somebody else likes somebody from the same sex,
right?
You've got fucking problems.
100%.
Just, you have a fucking mental health problem. That's if you have an issue with the way that anyone lives their lives that doesn't affect your life, it's absurd. It's absurd. And it's kind of frustrating because it's also kind of, what I'm saying is also kind of hypocritical, because we obviously want to dislike the people that believe that, right? So it's like, I'm fucking pissed off at bigots. I'm pissed off at people that are homophobic.
But there is a good fight. Right, so there's a good fight,
man. Of course there is, but that's the opposite fight, right? The opposite fight is, well, if you're gonna fucking say that about me not liking those people, then you're just as bad by telling me I shouldn't think those things. And you're like, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, the fact that you think those things is just stupid. It's fucking stupid.
There's also there's also a difference between offense and defense. When somebody's out there like, I hate the gays. Like, that takes work. When I'm like, I hate people like you, that's a response to something being flung out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's not me. You get what I'm saying? Like me going, whoa, hold up there, buddy. Like, that's.
But I also feel like, don't you kind of feel to a certain extent with the comedians? And John, I got to ask you this too. Like when you tell jokes and you're around a comedic population, some of those jokes that I'm referring to Rick as, kind of cringeworthy, the ones that come out and you're like, oh God, that's so like 1970s of you, or so not, like, I think a lot of it has to do with the words that are used, not so much the joke, right? Because you can still laugh at that shit. Some of it's funny if you have a sense of humor. If you're hanging out in a room with 10 people, and out of those 10 people, 3 or 4 of them are the group of people that you're making fun of, they will laugh if you have a kind-heartedness to it, right? That's part of the comedy of it, is that you can make those jokes and it's an observation about society that makes it kind of funny. Like, if I crack jokes with my gay friends about other gay people, it's because I'm picking out a particular subgenre at that time, and they find it funny because it's something that they're not in the gay community, or it's something they've observed. I don't know. I think it's a slippery slope. I think that interpreting jokes and interpreting the humor that comes with it, and not wanting to laugh at something, but also knowing that shit's funny as hell when you say it like that, and still not actually feel those feelings. It's kind of like a difficult thing to navigate. Like when you're selecting your jokes, when you're selecting your material, when you're thinking about what do I want to target to get a laugh, where's the fucking line? Like where have we progressed in 2021 where those things are no longer on the fucking docket of things you can crack jokes about?
And by the way, that's a really great question, because in 1992, Bill Hicks said, erase the lines. There are no lines. And now I look at it and I go, man, I love Bill Hicks, but I feel like since the windows have been open into other people's lives, I feel like you can joke about anything, but you need to be fucking smart about it now.
You gotta pick an audience, that's all.
Exactly. You need to know that audience too. But like, you need to be crafty now. Like, look, man, like, how many gay jokes can you hear in your life before you go, this is so fucking stupid now? Like you're just reaching for low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't remember ever hearing a gay joke that wasn't just some version of acknowledging that there was a person who was gay. Like there wasn't. I've never heard a gay joke that was a joke about someone who was gay, and there was this funny punchline to it. It was just that the punchline was that the person was gay. And like that's not really a fucking joke. That's kind of just being a bigot and expecting people to reinforce your bigotry through laughter. Like that's not, to me, that's not a joke, really.
But
And
is there a way to make an observation in a humorous way where you don't have any malicious intent?
maybe, but I think that gay comics are the ones that do that very well.
Yeah.
Like I haven't
100%.
seen a lot of straight comics make a lot of good gay related comedy, but I've seen a lot of gay comics make a lot of really great gay related jokes, and none of it had to do with just, oh, I bet that's a fucking, like, never heard any of that. I've heard actual smart
Doesn't
gay.
it kind of get weird? Like, doesn't it get weird though? Like when you think about, black comedians making fun of white people, and how like white people walk a very fine line as comics making fun of black people, because there's like a, that's the kind of stuff that Rodney Dangerfield would do, and people would fucking laugh hysterically at it. But now, it's kind of. But Chris Rock could go up there and fucking roast white people.
Well,
and
Chris
it's
Rock
accepted.
also said that when you are the winner at something for too long, sometimes you need to shut the fuck up and let people make fun of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a whole system that is in place, and like, as unfortunate as it is, white people in America are in power and for very long and continue, and even now, like continuing on, it's just not funny to make fun of the black experience. I don't think so. I've never thought that it was. It's like, to me, it's just like low hanging fruit, like you said
Yeah,
before.
right.
Yeah.
To me, it's
Like,
the
all
same
right.
thing as what I said about gay people or anyone in the LGBTQ community. Is just, if a black comic wants to make jokes or about something having to do with their experience of being black or interacting with the white community, I imagine that's going to be a hell of a lot funnier than any white comic making a joke about black people.
Yeah,
Hands down.
definitely.
Because it's just not the same world. It's not the same damn thing.
But again, it's tact. It's tact. It's approach, right? Because Bill Burr did that whole fucking bit about how black people look out for each other, like if they have ashy elbows.
But Bill Burr's joke about that was in relation to him talking about how his black girlfriend was telling him, like,
right.
Dude,
Again, tact.
But my point is, he was still talking about his personal experience. He wasn't just calling out, like, oh, about those black people.
Right. And here's what bothers me, dude. What bothers me is that too many people have adopted this idea that they can say whatever they want and go, I'm just joking. It's just a joke. And that bothers me. So like this conversation makes me think about that, because you have to be more into like the way Bill Burr approaches it. There's a level of emotional intellect. There's a level of social intellect that goes into it. It's not just a shitty fucking joke out of nowhere. It's not low hanging fruit. He's approaching it from a, as Jordan put it, a place of love.
Right. So that's the issue, right? Like, it takes. I think we've had this conversation one or two shows ago, where like it takes a fucking certain level of intelligence to understand that a joke is a joke, and it's not meant to be the way that most people would interpret it, that would get behind it. Like, you would tell a joke, and then all of a sudden you've got, supporters of hate following that joke because it's funny for them, because they actually hate that group.
It's
of people.
funny for them because they agree with the fucking message of it in the most disgusting fucking way.
I think comedy in general. I think comedy in general takes a superior level of not even wordplay, like level of education, not only to formulate the joke and know how you're presenting the joke, but for people to receive the joke and be like, "That's funny as shit," and I'm gonna stop laughing 30 seconds in because it's funny for that moment because you told the joke, but it also walks that's what makes comedy edgy and funny at that time. I feel like those comedians that you asked about that I would watch now and be like, oh, like
Do you
I
think that
still
there's
find
room
the
for
joke funny immediately, and then I look at it and I'm like, God damn, that fucking shit was funny 25 years ago, and I don't find it fucking funny now. Like it's like, I don't know, man. It's
Sure.
Go ahead,
Do you
Stones.
think
What were you
there's
gonna
room for
say?
duality? Yeah, my bad. Do you think there's room for a duality of a comedian who could make jokes that have like a dual meaning? In other words, the joke can be funny with the way that it's presented, and be both not bigoted and bigoted at the same time. But the person, it never leans towards bigoted, but the joke always has a bigoted possibility with their joke, even though it's never actually bigoted. Do you think do you think there's room for that today? Do you think that there's an ability for that to coexist today?
Yeah, I just want to stop and say you said bigoted a lot.
Yeah,
It was like 15 times in that one sentence.
That sounds a
I'm
little
not gonna
bigoted,
lie,
Jordan.
dude.
That sounds
If
a
I
little
had-
bigoted.
If
I'm
I had
gonna
eaten an
know,
edible of
honestly,
stupid
it's-
balls, I would have
I'm
just
realizing
been the word
that-
bigot coming at me from all over the fucking place, dude.
That's true.
Sesame
No,
Street
because
word of the day.
not for nothing. What my favorite comedy styling isn't necessarily bigoted, but it is one that
Yeah.
where you can take the succession of words and you can interpret it in two completely different ways. And one of the ways is really terrible and dark and sad and probably has no place in modern society. And at the same exact time, those same words put together could also mean something completely innocuous to any of that and still have comedic value.
So you're talking about people who look at who are reading the headline but not reading the article.
Basically,
Well,
right.
precisely. That's the same group, Rick. That's the same fucking group of people that are on social media going, look at this shit. And it's like, did you read the article? It's literally the opposite of what the fucking headline says.
I
Yeah.
think what you're actually talking about is really difficult to pull off. Like that.
It
Very-
is. When I see it happen,
something like that.
when I see it happen, I appreciate the shit out of it. But I don't know. I don't see it now. I don't see it in today's world because I think everyone's afraid of it. Because I think the go-to thing is going to be people attacking the insensitivity half of or 40% or whatever. That end of the joke that was only placed there to be edgy, but still don't. As long as I think if you walk the line where you can maintain where you never go that way. You know what I mean? Like you never actually fall into that trap of doing, going against a people for whatever reason. I think you could pull it off, but I think it's very hard.
It's
And
becoming increasingly more difficult.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think it's if you have the personal experience to talk about something like what Sarah was saying about the plethora of gay comedians who can make gay jokes and it's hilarious. The same way that there's women who could make jokes about like stupid shit that women do that it's like funny. If you have the personal experience, then I feel like you can joke about it. Like it's different if you're an outsider, you've never experienced the trauma of being a gay person in America, or you've never experienced the trauma of
Exactly.
being a black person in
Things-
America.
Yeah.
Or
I've talked to
yeah.
Rick so many times about how badly I want to write a comedy set just based on what my experience is of being of able-bodied people's reactions to a disabled person. Like no intention of being a comedian. I just feel like that one show I have so much to say about it. But if an able-bodied person did a similar show, it probably wouldn't come off the same way.
No,
Like-
not at all.
The experience is what matters, and I think that goes across the board for nearly everything.
I think you're
Yeah.
like trying to distinguish comedy from comedy etiquette, though. Like, do you think like should there be an etiquette, or should comedy just be left alone?
I think it
think it's.
depends. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kristen.
Oh no. I was gonna say I think you just have to not be like a lazy comedian. I don't know. I just think that like your experience is unique and you're able to come up with plenty of jokes about, being like there's plenty of funny shit about being an average white guy. And there's plenty of funny shit that you can, you can say
Yeah.
about that.
There's
But I
there's
think,
still stuff to dig in that.
there's tons of stuff that you can come up with. I just think that like we're setting like the bar was set a little low. If that, I don't mean to be offensive when I say that, but like you can talk about your like own experiences and make that funny and make it something that everyone in the audience can kind of relate to. Like I think that like it's not necessarily etiquette. It's just like being good at being a comedian, if that makes
And
sense.
and
Yeah.
every
No,
time,
that makes a lot of sense.
and to me, I think, I mean, I don't know if it's the point when the jokes are written, but from an outsider, from the viewpoint of the audience, every time all of those examples I gave of like, a black comedian making black jokes or a gay comedian making gay jokes and things like that, whether or not it's the intention, in my experience, what I see happening at the end is a lot of people in the audience that are white or straight or like whoever they think they are as being very different from that comedian. In the end, they walk away going, "Oh, I've had so many experiences just like that. Like, we're not different. We all experience the same shit. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or black or white or you're Asian or Puerto Rican. Like, we've all experienced that." And I feel like good comedy that picks apart things that people are sensitive about, whether it's your skin color or whatever it is, good comedy makes other people feel like, "Oh, wow, yeah, like that's how it is in my house. That's
So
what
you
happens in
want
my
relatable
family."
humor.
What?
You think relatable comedy is best?
Well, I don't know if it's intended. I don't know if the purpose of writing the joke is so you get people to understand, like, oh, we're all in a similar boat. But I feel like good comedy on those subjects end up being relatable, whether or not they were intended to be. And I think that's in my experience, that's always been the most enjoyable. And I think that there's probably a lot of people, like, I guarantee you there are people who have been like, "Oh, you have to come see this comedian. I love him." And the person didn't want to do it because he knew the comedian was gay or he doesn't like, he's or whatever. And then afterwards, after laughing their ass off, leaving and having a totally different viewpoint.
Mhm.
And I think that that is really important. And I guarantee you that happens a lot more than you hear about.
I also think there's some level of understanding the intent of the person. Like I said, Patrice O'Neill told jokes that were really sexist, but if you examine what he said, he was critiquing himself, and he calls himself and his own generation fucking idiots repeatedly. So when he tells a joke that's sexist and you understand that he's critiquing his own idiocy about it, it comes off different than when you hear, like, for example, Bill O'Reilly tell a joke that's fucking sexist. When Bill O'Reilly tells a joke that's fucking sexist because he's not a comedian, he's just a fucking sexist asshole, it fucking hits different. So you understand what I mean? Like, there has to be a level of authenticity to it. I just think that comedy nowadays, it has to come with a certain level of emotional and social intelligence, because the times have changed. Things have changed. We're more aware now. You know what I mean? Like, we're just more aware of how people feel. We're more aware about how the things we say affect people. And I think that, like anything else...
Are we more aware, or are we more self-policing at this point?
Yeah, but are we self-policing for the right reasons?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are we self-policing for the right reasons? Like I always say that in the 90s, people used the word faggot left and right. Like it was just natural to fucking say that shit all the time. You know what I mean? And now if I don't say it, am I self-policing, or am I being considerate of the people around me because I don't want them to be hurt.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
isn't the fear of that being a word that you can't use what that population is so upset about? That group of people who are concerned that we're moving towards a more liberal way of thinking, that the word faggot can't be thrown around as easily as it used to be, and that you can't
It's amazing that there's a need to use that word so much that this is like hurting someone.
Well,
somewhere.
that's very much my point about how much work you have to put
like
into
is your
like if people are like, no, don't use that word anymore, you're like, why not? And you're like,
no, I could never speak
it's
again.
probably wrong.
Sure.
Like, wow.
Like
man.
if somebody can tell me something from a position, it's like the Gina Carano thing. Okay, from Star Wars. Everybody's, people are pissed off she got fired because she's, she said things about trans people, and I thought about it, and it's like I used to say, here, let me be honest for a second. I used to say that what reason do I have to write the words he, him in the way that I want to be addressed as a person, right? But when I hear somebody say to me, if you put that to your social media, if you put he, him is the way you like to be addressed, the pronouns you like to use, doing that is creating a solidarity with trans people who are marginalized, killed, commit suicide, or murdered all the time, and you do that, and it shows a level of solidarity with those people. I heard that, and I went, wow, that makes a fuckload of sense to me. Now I see why she's an asshole. She's an asshole because that fucking argument was made to her to do that, and she still was like, fuck you.
Yeah, and J.K. Rowling.
And J.K. Rowling, thank you.
J.K. Rowling.
Oh my god, dude. She's so much worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's so much worse because I feel like she was told like, hey, what you're doing is fucked up, and then tried to do it like she tried to like one up herself like over and over again to see if she could be even more fucked up.
Or worse.
Can somebody fill me in on J.K. Rowling? I'm a little bit behind on the Harry Potter times.
She's a TERF.
She's fucking... Go ahead, Kristen.
She's a TERF, basically, which is a trans, radical, exclusionary feminist, you could say. She just, like, doesn't believe in the... TERFs kind of subscribe to, like, the belief that, like, a man who transitions into a woman is committing, like, an act of, like, gender violence against a woman. Because it's like, no, you're biologically a man. So I deny your existence. Like you're not.
But she supports women being
Does that
more
have to
masculine.
do something about women's rights or something like that? Or
it's like yeah, exactly. It's like something along the lines of women's rights. But basically, she put out a bunch of shit that was like, I don't believe that trans women are real, and like I don't believe that they deserve to have a place in society, and like
she had enough imagination to believe in like magic, and she can't fit like.
That's the very thought I had. I'm like, you're coming up with fucking sorcery and orcs and shit like that, and people making books walk with feet.
It's the divinatory room, and it's all this detail, and like you can't imagine that this one person just like wants to feel like normal in their own skin.
Yeah.
For like,
I can conjure fucking snakes, but I can't feel like maybe I wanted to be the opposite gender my whole entire life.
Meaning, especially given the fact that Harry Potter was a boy who felt completely alone and had things about him he couldn't understand at all, until an entire world opened up to him that said, "Hey, you're normal. You're just like us." Yeah, it's completely out of her realm of understanding. Apparently,
it's wild because she had so many like race. Or like prejudice undertones throughout the Harry Potter series, like the whole mudblood thing. So I'm like, you're treating these trans people like mudbloods, bro. Yeah, come on, you wrote this.
100%.
I never thought
you wrote
about
this
that.
happening. This sucks. Like,
holy shit, I never thought about
Wait,
that. Yeah,
guys, can I wrote this joke recently about Harry Potter, just about like the whole Parselmouth thing. Real quick, because we're on the subject, I just wanted to run it by you.
We are ready for this.
It's not even.
I'm ready to be offended.
Just visualize like someone who's like hissing at like a UPS. It's like at like a UPS person, and like, so like, no one else can talk to this like UPS person because but this one guy's a parcel tongue, and it's like spelled parcel with a C. So like I just want to like slap the visual of that.
I wonder what speaking parcel with a C would sound like.
Yeah, just like, he's like, is this my package? Ask him if it's my package. Guts. You have to speak British.
Dude, you want to hear something weird about fucking mail? I feel like has this ever happened to anyone? So I've been waiting for a package to come in the regular postal service, and it's just an envelope. It's not even like a big yellow envelope. It's like a regular ass envelope. I've been waiting for a week, and it's coming from one town away. Today, we got a notice in the mailbox that said it couldn't be delivered because we owe $2.90 for the package to be delivered. But here's the weird part. In a little note at the bottom, the mailman wrote that we could leave the $2.90 in the mailbox and he'll deliver it tomorrow. Have you ever heard of transactions being done in the mailbox? I feel like I'm being like this is like a blackmailing situation. Like
Never.
Right? That's what I've never heard of that. I thought it was so fucking
mail.
weird. Dude, like how cheap?
It's monster amounts of money though. Like what was it?
For $2.90. It's not even.
I'm gonna need about $2.90.
We put it in change in the box. Because that's all we have.
Yeah, I just threw a bunch of quarters in there, and I'm like, I've never had to pay for my mail before like this.
If you send it back, they have to pay for it.
I should have
That's
consulted
when, like,
you.
Roman civilization started realizing our whole thing's collapsing. Like this is like our
this is
like
the
Paul
beginning
Revere.
of the end.
So you have to pay
saw
for
a
this
donation.
thing.
Mike Pepe
I
just
saw
wrote, "How's
a-
about Tree Fitty?"
I saw
About
this woman.
350.
I love that.
She wrote a check. This company, she wanted to donate $50, and she wrote a check to him. And apparently, the scam was they were changing the $50 check to $5,000 checks.
Oh
And
yeah,
she
I
had
saw
to-
that.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Fucked up, dude. And now she's got a whole fucking problem on her hands too.
Yeah.
Gary Pinchot, my buddy, wrote, "Anyone see the Big Gay Sketch Show? They did a Harry Potter trans skit that I swear set JK off."
No, I haven't seen that yet.
You guys got to find Fitzwilliam's Harry Potter skits on Logo. Okay, we're looking for it. I want to say hi to Mike Pepe in the chat. I want to say hi to my mom in the chat. Scott Fastnecht is in the chat. Aaron's in the chat. Pat's in the chat. Lauren's in the chat. What's up, everybody? Madison is in the chat. How's it going? Yeah, man. Fucked up, dude. I want to just point out this. So another article that I posted to the Awesome Talk Facebook page. Elderly Asian woman beats up man attacking her in San Francisco, and I wanted to point out how fucking absolutely gangster this fucking woman was because she beat the fucking holy shit out of this asshole with a cricket bat. It looks like, and it was fucking.
Can I ask what country this is? Because if this is in the United States and she just happened to have a cricket bat, like that's astounding.
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Is there like a cricket league in San Francisco? Like I've never heard of anyone in this country playing cricket ever. I've never heard.
She was auditioning for Shaun of the Dead 2.
And how old was she? She's in her 80s, right?
Yeah, she's elderly, man, and she beat the fucking holy shit out of this guy. And the best part was, while he's bleeding on the stretcher, she's still fucking screaming at him and threatening to kick the shit out of him the whole way to the ambulance, dude.
Good.
Nice. Like, what a way to disturb someone's peace, man. Like, that lady was just walking. Like,
yeah,
dude just projected his
Not
all of
only
his
that,
bubbling
she's walking
anger.
with a cricket bat. What are you fucking thinking?
I don't know, man.
Awful,
Yeah.
dude. Like it's just ridiculous.
But then again, like that's like you're walking down the fucking street. You went out of your way during your normal course of your
to
afternoon
openly
to be
hate
like,
and violate.
let me fucking
space.
hate this fucking person so much that I gotta get up in their face and disrupt my entire day.
It takes work.
Just to fucking,
Well, you know what? The thing
it's
is,
fucking
like,
work, dude.
people
It's
like
fucking
this
work.
whole, like you see it in the news
Yeah.
recently, like a lot of like violence against Asian people in public spaces like subway trains and things like that. Like I feel like it's entitlement more than anything else. Like I deserve to be here and you don't deserve to be here, to the point where it's almost the same as if you're intruding in my living room. And like that's crazy. That's crazy. And like I know that there's been anti-Asian things that have had, I mean, of course, like, we had internment camps, for fuck's sake. But like the people that say, "Oh, Trump didn't have anything to do with this," can suck it, because that's fucking not true. That is, I'm sorry, when you cross out coronavirus and put in China virus, yeah, you're part of this, motherfucker. You're part of this problem. You let people believe it was okay.
No, it's connected. It's karmically connected now. Like,
Yeah.
no, like he's completely stoked like legitimate violence that like became, I don't know, man. I really posted a Facebook thing, and this is like one thing I can remember from it, but like I had to dress up like the Unabomber just to like hide my own eyes, and like walking around places I used to walk for decades, just fine. Never weird looks, never a glance, but like in the last 4 or 5 years, I don't know. I've been in interracial relationships, and like I always get the evil eye. Like,
dude, that's
like if I'm with a white girl, you know, like
hearing you say that is embarrassing to me
and infuriating.
Like, infuriating.
Well, it's all this stuff is based on like narratives that exist that like no one in their community is challenging. So I don't know. There's this like everyone's like, stay in your basement, stay in your hole, stay in your cave, like stay under your rock. And like, it's crazy because it's like, I don't know. It is just a warped, hate is just like this really warped version of love. Like you're only focusing on you and yours. And like, you're thinking everyone else is a threat or an element. Like you're seeing this whole world as scarce and just empty and like dog eat dog. And like, I don't mean to break this like serious thing, but that's like kind of what I do. But like I used to think that like when people would say dog eat dog, I think they were saying doggy dog, and I'm like, that sounds nice. It's a doggy dog world, but no, they're talking about like capitalism. And
So,
like,
I was gonna ask you too, because I don't want to put you on the spot and expose like your Facebook post, but I was gonna, I've seen you post things that have been like fucking disturbing to me, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to talk about anything that you've experienced recently.
Well, I'm going through a breakup.
Other than that, I meant because the Asian
I'm just
part.
like saying like the like relative just events, like this is the order of from most recent back, and then I don't know, it's hard, it's still hard to talk about because I'm just like, I don't know, I have been quiet most of my life, but like I think a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world, like like this whole battle between like it's okay to bully, like I don't know, it's literally all the people who felt powerless most of their lives finally realizing their power, and all of these other people being like, oh shit, like our easy ride is over, and it's like, yeah, because we all like deserve a piece of this pie called Earth.
Yeah.
Like any sentient being, every sentient being, like even the people that we're calling other, because like I don't know, man. The whole thing about like, it's like wild because people talk about like a lot of this is like, we're the superior species. Oh, if you're superior, then like help us with this world thing, save us. Like, no, you think you're superior in a way of like coercion and strength and like fear. Like, who needs that? What if we were all gone? What if all people of color, all people who were different, like sexually, were just gone? Then what music would you have? It'd just be Christian rock. Sorry, like
Jesus.
I love Christian rock. I love Creed. I unironically love Creed. But
Rick's
it can't be the only thing.
Dude, Rick's subtle reaction to you saying that, him going, Jesus.
That's what I say too when
All
I
you're
listen
gonna be
to
left
them.
with is Christian. Christ.
Yeah, let's not make any mistakes here. A lot of that Christian rock is undercover gay rock. Okay, guys? Like, there's a lot of Christians out there who are secretly gay, guys.
You made a pretty
Not so
profound
secretly. I think that's like, I don't know, man. It's to deny this, to deny anyone's consciousness. Like, we're all human. Like we all have to do this. Like, we all have to lose people we love, and we have to like we just have to keep trudging through. Like that keeps like, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird that there's this extra layer of like complete distrust, like complete like just venom towards each other. I can't count myself out of that. I've been a hater in many respects. I used to hate rap music. I used to be homophobic. I used to hate Indian people. Now I do Indian mantra. Like it saved my life. Like from,
can I ask you what
and
so as a 42-year-old white man, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. What do you think led to that hate? And how did you defeat it?
I think when you identify with, dude, like I spent the pandemic really trying to hone in and like understand like what is this ego thing that everyone's talking about. I've heard it through every psychology class, but I never actually took the time to be like, why do we suffer so much? Like, what is this extraneous suffering? Because there's basic suffering. Like, we're all decaying, we're all dying. Every bed is a deathbed if you think about it. Like, I think about that every night. And like, but it's also like I don't know, dude, we get like, I watched WandaVision and like I didn't expect to have like a fucking like heart-wrenching moment with like a Marvel freaking Disney thing. Like,
yeah,
the fact that he talked about like like grief is love, it's still love. Like that, like, why are we here? Like, why else are we here? Like, even if I don't know, even that if you guys like did the South Park reference, I forget which one, but like even that thing with the Hooters episode or the what is it called, raisins?
Yeah, raisins.
Like Butters,
yeah.
like his girlfriend. But like, I don't know, man. It's been a really weird year, and I'm rambling, but it's like,
you're not rambling. You're saying a lot of intelligent things, and I like when
thinking about this stuff a lot, so it all kind of just cascades out.
I just want to ask you, like, how has this experience been bad for you? You know, what's happened?
Which part?
What is
like
it?
The
what is it?
pandemic, or like
All
growing
of
up,
it.
like
All of it. What is it that people?
Like most of
what is it that assholes who look like me need to know?
Actually, give me 1 second. I really should. Here's something. I really respect my parents, so I should call. My mom's calling me, so I should.
Okay, sure.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Hey, Mom. Yes.
How weird is it to hear someone be like, "Hey, I'm on Awesome Talk right now"? Like, in all the years of doing this show, I don't know if that's ever happened once where someone had to like pull aside and be like, "Hey, I'm actually live on Awesome Talk." and the parents like, "What the fuck is Awesome Talk?"
No, she's like, "Oh shit, Awesome Talk. I'm sorry."
I didn't know it was tonight.
Right now.
Rick goes, oh, Awesome Talk. Shit, let me get off the phone. like Mom was about to be like, I gotta watch that fucking episode later. I missed another Awesome Talk fucking episode.
Damn it, I didn't even know it was on tonight.
Shit. I forgot to put it in my calendar.
Yeah, man.
I just thought for a moment that we were fucking celebrities. I got all worked up. I was like, yeah!
Keep
Hey,
that
Mom.
shit up, man. That's what's
Mom,
gonna
I can't
you
talk
gotta
right now
fake it
about
to
Awesome
make
Talk.
it.
She was like, oh shit, Awesome Talk! How the fuck? You made
Holler!
it big now! Who the fuck invited you? Burr, 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 burr. We're fucking Awesome Talk! Yo, give me a Pat autograph! Give me a Pat autograph!
Just talking about how excited your mom was when you told her you were doing Awesome Talk right now.
Can we
Yeah,
talk?
man,
Can I make a point real quick? I'm
Please.
drinking a beer that I just noticed blatantly stole the Fantastic Four logo.
Absolutely. That's a limited
Oh my God,
edition.
That's
like
what happens
cut
when
off.
fucking people in our generation start breweries.
No
they
shit,
do
dude.
stupid shit
Just
like this
take
where I'm
shit.
like,
Yeah.
I just went down, looked at beer, and was like, oh my
Fuck.
God, that's the Fantastic Four
Yeah,
fucking
man.
logo.
Go ahead, Jordan.
No, I wanted to see, like, can you like hold it up again? Because it like kind of got cut out, and I wanted to see, like, I do love. It's invisible for me, but it's
That just looks like a hand with the floating.
yeah. No, it's
thing.
kind of cool though. Yeah. No, thanks
Is
for.
Is it not registering on the fucking screen? What's
I
going on?
wonder,
I see
is
it.
it green
see it.
or is it like?
It's brown.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah, I'm
brown,
just seeing the
beige,
mountains
it's-
behind you. It's like Harry Potter's invisibility.
Oh, you got to
beard.
switch. Are you wait? Are you looking at? Are you in the together mode on?
I
Skype?
am in the together mode.
Yeah, you got to get out of that. You got to
Yeah,
get out of that.
yeah, go to grid
we learned that
mode.
a long time ago.
Go to
dude.
grid
We learned
mode.
that-
Oh,
You
I
gotta
don't know.
go
I
into
like
grid
it.
mode.
It actually makes me feel like you guys are
Go
just
into
like.
grid mode. Yeah,
Just all
it
sitting
makes
on
me
the
feel
stoop.
Like, I got tired of looking at it because it makes me feel like I'm sitting in a fucking college auditorium listening to somebody give a lecture.
I
Yeah,
love
a
that.
college
No, dude,
auditorium in the middle
called
of
it
a
the
forest.
amphitheater.
Like a Shakespearean
Amphitheater, exactly. Right.
It really feels. It made me very nostalgic. Like I went to a university with an amphitheater, and like it made me feel very like I was like, oh man.
The thing that bothers me about it is that you can't change it. Like I want to be able to make it together mode where I place everyone at the bar, but you can't
Mm.
do that.
No, they just give you the stone steps.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in like a
Yeah.
group myth watch looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, George, so what I asked you was, what do assholes that look like me need to know?
I mean, I'll extend it to people who don't like assholes who don't look like you, because I also have to remind, like, there's just I don't know. We talk a lot about white racism, but like it's everywhere. There's prejudice and like homophobia and xenophobia, like every generation, like
Yeah.
every race, everyone just.
And
Like I
even
said, like, I
within
grew out of it,
those
you know,
own
like-
communities. Like I want to point
Yeah.
that out right now because within the LGBTQ community, there's a
Yes.
hell of a lot of hate towards bis. I
Yep.
just want to point that out
Thank
because you're
Yeah,
not
dude,
straight
get
enough
that.
and you're
Like,
not bi enough and you don't fucking fit in the
it's
community
all
that
this
is allegedly.
division stuff. It's all this stuff that, like, again, like I've comment on like the ego stuff, but dude, I had to read I used to be suicidal. Like I just want like people to like that, and it sucked because it and like the compound guilt and like shame attached to like understanding that like sometimes your openness and like about mental illness can like just even hurt people who are not ready to even like. So
Sure.
like I really had to do this. I really had to figure out like how do I stop this like mean, almost evil chatter voice in my head, like chatterbox, like, and dude, like I recommend just meditation. I remember
too.
because it is a practice of letting go, because that's like, I don't know, dude. Nietzsche would talk about like the different levels of people, of like the camel who kind of just accepts like that metaphor of a camel type person who like accepts everything and they're just waiting for their thing. They just a beast of burden, they, you know, and then like you like go out into a desert and you become a lion, like, because this metaphor is like you're done being a camel. You're like, I don't need to do this. I'm free. And like you go back and you're like trying to tell all the like the other camels like, hey, they're like lying to you. Like you don't have to do that. Like they're like using you. They're exploiting you. But like the lion's still in that same game because he's being ensnared by like societal norms. Like it's a consciousness like trap. Like.
Right.
All these like weird, it's like one big really complex lame like detrimental like lives changing forever game of cops and robbers, which sucks because it's affecting like all these other people like who just want to live and like be with their loved ones and like and grow and like learn about this world and be curious and like kind. And there's a group of there's groups just meeting each other online. How come? Why is it that the most hateful of us are the quickest and like, I guess most like time like savvy to write like full on manifestos? Like, how come there isn't like a really cool peaceful manifesto where like everyone's like, no, these are cool. Like we agree with this. Like whatever creed. Like, how is there not like?
How would politicians get voted into office if we didn't have opposition?
Well, I'm excited about the future because I feel like we're growing out of the needs for like that system.
I hope.
And I think a lot of people are working on it. Like that is my hope. That because like this last year we've all just experienced like no, like this system, so much of it like is broken and like for all the wrong reasons. It's all for power. Like who needs that? I just want time.
We've experienced an ultimate level of racism and classism and sexism and like I feel like more people have had
fear,
time.
Though it's insecurity, dude.
Sure.
It's like people. It's like if you really tend to your own garden and like build yourself up to be the human you can be, you won't try to tear anyone down. You're too focused and not in a selfish way. Like I've been hearing this thing in like technological progressives, like they're people. I don't agree completely with transhumanism, like that whole thing of like I want to live forever because science. Like I do. I think. I mean,
I want total altered carbon. I want to be fucking. I want my consciousness taken out and put in a younger body immediately.
I would love NeuroNet. I want to like merge with the internet and just like
why not
show it a thing or two.
Agreed.
Like dance with. I don't know, man. It's really. I think hate is. I think we're rising above as a species. I think we have to, dude. The reason I went into so much therapy is because I had so many nervous breakdowns throughout my life, and in a lot of them, they like some people call them breakthroughs. Like that's why I got into everything shamanic, everything like esoteric, everything like like mystical, anything that was attached to the word mystical, because like that's people who deny trans people, they're just denying their human spirit. How do you deny that? That's ultimate blasphemy. If you really believe in what you say you believe, how could you treat anyone outside of you like that, who you can recognize as a person? They're called trans people. So why are you saying they're not people?
Agreed.
Like you gave them that name. Like
100%.
So like
yeah, but a lot of people don't even care about regular people.
There's that.
Well, dude, they're hurt. I mean, there's that. I always like remember hurt people like
hurt people, right?
I have to remember that like no, I'm really lucky. I grew up in like just all these random parts of New Jersey where everyone like got along. Like New Jersey is like this like everyone around the world shits on us, but like I have experienced so much love and like acceptance here more than anywhere, like definitely more than different places of the country. Like going like middle America like was terrifying, or like it was very stressful.
Yeah,
just people walking in being like, you boys lost, and I'm like, I'm an animator, man. Like yeah, I'm philosophically lost, but like I just want to use the bathroom. Like no, like dude, that shit happened to me and my buddy multiple times. Like not even like 4 years ago, like not even like now, like everyone's like it all became so tense. It's always been tense.
Yeah.
It's just now in the open. Like,
and who are we? How do we fit in it? Because I you know, I look at the group of people on this stream right now, and what I see is, and what I've always hoped to see out of Awesome Talk is a bunch of people who are trying to find a better truth. And we're kind of lost in this world. Mike Pepe just made a fucking comment where he said Utah's trying to ban porn. Alabama said doctors can turn down service to LGBTQ community. And Georgia has their new racist voting laws. And then I look at people like us who have evolved through a lot of shit that we've been programmed to believe is true. And I go, how do we fit in? How do we fix this? What do we do? Is there more that we can do than this?
I think you just have to treat people like people. Honestly, I think that's where it starts at like the most base level. It's just
I think whenever you get I don't think you have to overextend yourself, but I think it's obvious that it's happening enough. Whether it's like this one comic, Mark Normand, he has this one joke of like racists, this is his joke. I just want to like, but he talks about like, sometimes when you're a white guy and you're not racist, but then someone else who's racist like goes up to you, like they really trust you, man. Like it is like a thing of trust in the same way that comedy's a thing of trust.
Rick talked a lot about how when he was doing tiling jobs, the amount of guys that just assumed he was also racist because they was astounding to him.
I mean, but
Unreal.
like, yeah, because they're all surface people, dude. Like anyone who looks
people.
like you.
Thank you.
Like,
I'm sorry. I say that term all the time. Surface people. People who read the headline but don't read the article.
I mean, dude, like. I stopped reading the headline.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
And in many places, like some guy will be yelling at the cashier, say some like racist remark or something, and turn to me and be like, right? And I'd be like, no. Like, what the fuck are you looking at me for? I don't agree with you.
I think that the comment that Mike had just made and that Rick was asking about how do we make change? Obviously, for us, for people of our stature, where we are economically and where we fit into the hierarchy of society. I mean, we're nothing. We're little peons. We're like everyday fucking people. But like, I will say this: that recent Georgia voting law that just went in that is blatantly targeted at alienating the black vote in Georgia, which is nuts because Georgia, we can go on. I could explain to you the history of voting in fucking Georgia for so long. It's absurd, but I found that particularly fascinating. And I'm also a massive sports fan. So the baseball just started. We're literally in the second day of baseball. And the MLB was supposed to have its all-star game and a tribute to a guy who played in Atlanta, Georgia for many, many years at Atlanta. They were supposed to hold their draft as well, which is a huge moneymaker, for the organization as baseball. And they decided, and I think this is something that touches upon it, they decided to rescind when that went through. And what you're seeing in these organizations and our country, when I talk to my students about the makeup of our country, what our culture is, sports is a big part of our culture. We have sports that the rest of the world, baseball and football are integral to American, Americana and history. So for baseball and football to be fundamentally aware of it now and making steps towards like social justice and disagreeing with things, I have to tip my hat to the MLB, to Major League Baseball, because it took 30 fucking seconds in Major League Baseball was like, yep, we're going to hold that somewhere else now because you obviously are, fucking racist. And the MLB, which is traditionally an American sport and often connotated with Babe Ruth and white people, is traditionally run, by white corporations, owned by white corporations, but their athletes are traditionally Dominican, Puerto Rican, African American. I mean, there are obviously Caucasian people, but they literally import Japanese pitchers. They import Chinese players. Like that sport is so diverse these days. And for the commissioner to go, what you're doing there just isn't fucking right fundamentally. And we're not going to donate money to fucking Atlanta, Georgia when your politicians can't get their head out of their ass and they don't even recognize the fact that it's 2021, not 1953. And those kind of movements are the things that I think are going to make instrumental changes moving forward, because the population of sports fans and fanatics in America, regardless of what the fuck they think, have to follow that shit. And I have followed it a lot over the last couple of years since the Colin Kaepernick thing, because the amount of people who were like, fuck the NFL, I'm never watching football again, they don't respect troops, the amount of veterans who were like, has nothing to do with that shit. Veterans. People were fucking ass hurt that Colin Kaepernick knelt for the goddamn national anthem, and we covered that on this show ad nauseum, right? But like the NFL is watched, and the people that critique it are like, I'm not watching it anymore. They support these fucking, these stupid agendas. You're like, those stupid agendas are held by the people that you're like, that's the best player I ever watched. You own their fucking jerseys, you buy all that shit. But the minute that they're like, I also, before I had $100 million because I could catch a football, had been targeted by fucking police. My parents were been thrown out of fucking stores before. Like, all of that doesn't matter as long as you can get on the fucking field. That just showed how quick people were like, nah, fuck that shit, it's nonsense, because they had never lived it. Well, the NFL changed their fucking tone because they were under so much pressure. And now the same people who were like, I'll never watch football again, I know goddamn well are in their fucking basement watching the NFL. You know what I mean? They just don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit it because it demasculizes their opinion of sport. I don't know what it is. It makes them too sympathetic to other people. And those are the people in my life who I'm like, I don't need you, dude. I don't fucking need you. If you're still harboring all that animosity and anger for the sake of not watching sports, get the fuck out of here. Because I have to say that MLB and NFL have made that shit more aware, and they have reacted to it because they have to. In order to keep money coming in, they have to. Otherwise, it's a wrap. And I think going back to Jordan's point about the idea that people have had power for so long, and the chickens have fucking come home to roost, man. There's only so long that you can be a patriarchal, white, dominant fucking landowning society where that lasts. That was normal 250 fucking years ago. Progress has
honestly
fucking happened.
2000. Oh man, it's the
fuck out of here with that shit. Like, you don't even have to be an active social justice person to sit back and go, what did you think this was going to last for fucking ever? You can't create a country that has 340 million fucking people of it, and a majority are not minorities. They are people. I hate that term, minority.
I know.
It's like
it's a separatist term again.
Like, it's
absolutely.
like the same people that still use the term blacks. When you say blacks, it's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, they're all Americans. You know what I mean? Like, have we not progressed to that point where that shit is just the categorization of shit? The Asian hate because of the virus is fucking nuts to me, because historically our country targeted Asians all the way back to the 1830s. We had the largest immigration fucking law passed, the most atrocious fucking immigration law to this day in American history was the Chinese fucking Exclusion Act. And not only that, the prison camps during World War II that put every person that looked Asian into a fucking concentration camp while we were liberating Germany of concentration camps. Like, people are making this like as if, well, why would you react that way? Why would you get upset? Well, I don't know. Maybe because in every legal document in the United States, people from those countries are referred to as aliens. Literally not human.
Dude, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien.
You're a
got
legal
my
alien.
papers.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
No, dude, you know what I found out?
insane.
I found out everything about Orientalism in an industrial design class. What's the, like, it's not Karen, but it's like the purple hair, like the meme of like
Karen.
The defending, like a liberal with colored hair
with
who's
the
like
fucking angry face yelling at fucking people.
that one new meme, because it's like, no, she was that, but she was also like, I was like, fuck, I didn't know all the details of like the way people like would unmask, and like I don't know if you guys seen the Saw movies, but like that the climax where you just have that montage of like, oh shit, like you're just like, wait, that guy was that, like, no, like I like remembered like every racist like thing. I believe it went into me, dude. Like I, like, not to be crude, but like I hated my penis for years because like I moved here when I was a teenager. Everyone's talking about their dick. Like,
yeah, welcome to America.
And everyone's just like, you're Asian, so it's just gotta be small and bad, and like it never it took years of therapy to just be like, no, dude, like it's part of me. I love it. I love you, man. Like you're my dude. Fist bump it multiple times.
Did
No.
you fist bump your actual penis? Like you're punching your head to your penis? Like, good job.
And, you
nice.
know, it makes the shape of a thumbs up. And
Yo,
we go to
Rob, I
sleep.
just want to say that Robert M. McKelly's kind of challenging you on something where he said, wow, the internment camps were unconscionable, but to compare them to German concentration camps where people are systemically exterminated is ludicrous.
Who's comparing them? I'm talking about the fact that we were liberating concentration camps.
Okay, yeah. I think
while having internment
this
camps.
feels
internment
like
camps, right.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'm not equating anything to anything.
Okay, I think he just wanted you to make that clarification.
I mean,
we weren't
they both have
exterminating
something
Asian people,
very
but the idea that we were actually
much in
going
common.
into a war and liberating internment camps while we were, policing Asians and ignorantly assuming that everybody at that point was Japanese is fucking insane.
Is there anything more white than what you just said? I swear to God, dude.
What?
You're like assuming everybody who looks Asian is Japanese. Yeah.
Oh no, that's
what he's saying. That's what was happening. Like
that's
at that
what was
time,
happening.
And it's it's a myth,
I'm by
man.
no
like,
means.
People
Listen,
didn't always
I
call themselves
teach
by
I
color.
teach that shit for a living. I'm not interpreting or equating that at all. That's no chance.
You're just pointing out there's a level of hypocrisy there that's fucking obvious.
The fucking hypocrisy. I mean, literally, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's wife had to go on a goddamn PR campaign because she was like, "Are you fucking stupid? Like, why would you start this? Why would you allow this to fucking happen?" Eleanor Roosevelt had to literally go out and speak publicly and be like, he doesn't mean all Asians. Like that was a fucking issue.
That's insane. No, like we're just throwing around, like, dude, like the diaspora of so many different cultures over one culture. It was just like, well, we own the place, so here are the lines. You guys go here. You guys have to move over here. Like the whole, like, I don't know, even internships are still indentured. So everything feels so like you got, like, Western civilization just loved to stroke its own. Sorry again. I don't mean to be so phallic tonight. Like,
you were awfully phallic.
No,
man.
but like,
by the way, Western culture is nothing if not phallic.
My name is Phallic Baldwin. That's like my sexy name. So my stage name. Yeah, that's my porn star name. Phallic Baldwin. Sorry. I lose
dope,
my train
by the
of
way.
thought.
That's fucking
No, but dude, like Western Civ, like, first of all, like, so much, like, everything, like, so many philosophies were just like from Africans, from Asia, and then they were just like, the Greeks did it. It's like the Greeks found a lot of stuff and like took a lot of time with it, but like they were reading books people already wrote, like. And then
right, it's like saying Columbus discovered America when there are already fucking people here.
All ego. It's imperialism.
Yeah.
All that stuff comes from this like evolved misfire that we all kind of like. Everyone has to deal with it. I'm not saying like the people who are not racist. They're so lucky that they like found the right like nurturing like environment to be like, no, we don't do that here.
Jordan,
like,
do you have any idea how easily I could have become a 42-year-old racist white man?
Ditto.
You know what I mean? How easily that could have happened to me, because when you're raised white, you're raised racist. And I had to take myself out in the world and meet people and understand people and do those things, willingly to break that. So it takes, you know what I mean? It's just.
No, but that's the thing. Everyone has to break that. Like, that is what the hero's journey is about. Is like, you have to fight that your own dragon that like makes you think like all of this stuff all of these conditioned beliefs, all of these norms that you're like, that seems stupid. Like, you're literally talking about Jesus and like the love of everything. And then like, I grew up Catholic, so like that's kind of what's bleeding out. But it's like, it's like also hate the gays, like, because Jesus, like, I don't know, I think Kurt Metzger, if you guys like that comic, I think he has the best like joke about like how ridiculous it is to like hate gay. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the one of the major things that like shifted my own personal like previous homophobia, which was real, like my best friend is gay now, and I'm so grateful. A Louis C.K. bit made it. It like snapped my head. That's why I think jokes are really powerful, because like you say, jokes are like they're cringy jokes now, and it's like it's not just that jokes lose their surprise. Like you learn something from them. You're like, that's
Agreed.
There's this one cognitive scientist philosopher, this guy named Daniel Dennett. He's like one of those guys with like Christopher Hitchens, like all those atheists, like four horsemen of the apocalypse or whatever they call themselves. But he talked about like comedy. He like wrote a whole book called Inside Jokes, and he was just like, comedy's a debugging mechanism. Like it used to be, we used it biologically to relieve ourselves after so much fear. Like our ancestors ran from animals, like who would like just like literally like just shake them like, but like you laughed to like let go of that fear, that tension, like, and like you laugh because you're okay. That was like oh man, like we made it, like we're good. It's like a signal of like we're good. And like it's harder to laugh now because you like, dude, I remember when all this shit was hyping up, and I used to tell this. I've been doing comedy for 12 years, and the last like 3 years, I was like, these rooms are split apart. Like there are just like, I don't know, man. I that's when I started just experiencing it on stage as people yelling out, "Go home, like, go home, whatever." Like, who's that Pokemon? Like. And I'm like, I'm home. I grew up in New Jersey. Like, that's why I sound like this. Like, I wanted a cool British accent. Could have gone anywhere. And like, even that, I don't know.
Man,
I'm rambling.
No, you're not.
This is hard to talk to because I'm like, I don't know.
I think you're doing brilliant. Go ahead.
Can I just say, I think that it's really important to recognize race based on everything that we've been talking about, because so much of Western civilization and so much of like Western education has been to demonize anything that's not Western, Christian, or I Caucasian, white, whatever. And I think like the sentiment that like, yeah, we're all human beings and like we're all basically the same is inherently true. But people who aren't from the West have been saying that for generations, for decades, for as long as this whole race conflict thing has been going on. And I think that it's important to recognize your own racial identity and celebrate it and be like, no, I'm fucking proud of the food that I eat. I'm proud of the language that I speak. I'm proud of like my culture, my heritage, and everything that, makes me who I am. And I think that sometimes it's reductive to say, well, we're all just human beings and like we're all part of one race, the human race, and that we should just all get along. Like that is inherently true.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Go ahead.
But like society doesn't view it that way. Our systems don't view us that way. The people don't view us that way. Like that comment that you just made about someone calling you that derogatory thing, like to me is so fucked up. Like you grew up in New Jersey, but you are, of Asian heritage, and that's something to be proud of.
I'm both, man. I'm full Appy, man. I'm Asian American and Pacific Islander, and like, this stuff is weird. It's weird.
It makes
I don't know,
sad.
dude. A Filipino person, like an old dude, like a middle-aged dude, just got slashed in the face, Joker style. Like,
it makes me sad that like we have to like hide our identity and who we are.
I'm learning not to. Like, I'm really learning how to be like, I don't know, man. I think some people taught humility out of respect, and some people taught it out of like obedience. And like, I'm really trying to learn the difference now of like
But
my
to
own.
be fair, like you saying like I had to dress like the Unabomber, like you weren't doing that out of humility. You were
I
doing that
did
for
it
your
out
own
of comfort
safety.
because like it's
Yeah,
it
like because
well
you're scared of someone fucking you up, like
well
just because
yeah,
of what you
dude. Like,
look
dude,
like.
I was running like
It's
every
crazy.
day, and then those guys shot up that kid like for looking the way he did, and I'm like, who the
Yeah.
like. And it
Yeah.
made me afraid to see every Trump like sticker flag. I'm
I
not
don't
like I'm
fucking
not
blame you.
exaggerating at all. Like I I don't know, dude. It was it's one thing that there's this pandemic and you have to cross the street every time you see like a stranger who you used to be able to like smile and like wave at and like or nod, do the awkward like I'm not gonna look at you because I'm socially awkward nod. Like I don't even risk that anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
Like it sucks.
I
It
think
like
I mean I just think that like it would be really shitty if all that we got out of this was that like we're all just part of this one race, which like I said inherently is true, absolutely. But I think that we need to celebrate and accept and like even elevate sometimes other people's cultures. And it's not
yeah,
like a
because it's
weird
this,
fucking
that's what I
thing.
mean. Like this,
Yeah.
it's been
Like
thousands of years of like straight up oppression and like
yeah.
fear and just like I don't know, man, just really shitty, painful, just dehumanizing stuff. And now
Yeah.
people are like, no, we've kind of reached this like we're reaching this cusp. Like we don't need to do that shit anymore. It's fucking it's like teenager shit, man. No offense, there are like really wise teenagers out there. Like I don't mean to like, but it's the broad like painting of other people. Like if you look at someone and you just think you know their whole story, you definitely don't know yours.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like you don't know that people are like. If you really think that someone is just this like hive mind, even if you're right, like
I think
what are
you
you
kind of
wasting your
stumbled on a
consciousness?
paradox there.
Like what was that?
I think you kind of stumbled on a paradox with this whole thing because, like, before, remember, like, we were talking about how why do they say blacks instead of why don't they just call everybody Americans? Like, why do we have to categorize people? And then it's like, well, even though we're all the same, we should categorize each other and
I don't I'm
and
not
celebrate our differences and stuff like that. So it's kind of like this weird gray area that you're creating.
I don't
I'm
think
not
so. I'm
saying
not
you in
yeah.
general, but specifically just in general society, and it's like it might be a little confusing for people.
I
I
think
don't
the
think
confusing thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you. I just like
no, please go ahead.
it's the fact that there's a major group in this country that we all live in that you can enjoy your culture and just like be okay and like not ever fear like someone coming up to you and like like either yelling at you or just like being mean or like or on or just like slashing you up or beating you up like my I'm remembering like one of my first memories in this country like as a teen like just a young like I think I was 9 like I got punched in the neck just like and just laid there for like an hour and it was the first I was like I'm gonna meet friends and like and eventually I did make friends but like no it sucks to be like it sucks to feel that heat it sucks to like have that like straight up aggro like I don't know it's all again it's this narrative like people have built for themselves like and you didn't even write in it you're not even you who's alive today you're playing into this like thing like this passed down shitty thing that like of thinking you're more human than someone else like and I guess that's what I mean about like I believe people should be able to like appreciate their culture and other people should be able to appreciate their cultures too it's like when it's like demonized and like straight up, there was this like argument about like people who like this one lady who wouldn't let her daughter wear Moana. She was white, and she was like, "You can't do that." And I'm like a Pacific Islander being like, what if she just really, she's a kid. Like, I don't think she's like been touched by the racist demon yet. So like, what if she just really likes it? What if she wants to show all her friends like this culture's cool? Like you thinking you're doing the right liberal thing is actually stopping like this culture from getting any like, cause you think like, I don't know, dude. Like
What age do you think cultural appropriation starts at?
dude, that's the thing. It's like
I think
all
that
cultures are
this was
constructs
Rick and I
anyway. So like,
Rick and I were talking about this the other day because I was bringing up, I can't remember what was on TV or on that we were watching. Do you remember what I was comparing to Gwen Stefani? Do you remember what it was when I brought up cultural appropriation? Oh, I was talking about a friend of mine. I had a friend who spent many years in India.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And she fell in love with it. She made some of the closest friends she's ever had in her life. She fell in love with everything about it, the music, the like just the fabrics, the clothing, everything. She loved it. The food, it was like a big part of her heart. And she really sort of adopted isn't the right word, but I would say some of those things sort of were broken off into her daily life, things she ate, things she wore. And I was comparing why I didn't feel like that was cultural appropriation to someone like Gwen Stefani during the like Harajuku girls, where she toted them around like they were ornaments.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, and like there's a huge difference between the two. Like when you're toting something around as an ornament, to me that's appropriation. When it's when it's appreciation. Exactly. When you understand what it means and you appreciate it, or you feel like, just because something comes from another culture doesn't mean that you're not going to feel some bond with it or some ability to understand where
Well,
that
how do you feel about Halloween costumes and stuff then when you say that? Because it seems like people draw a line there.
Sorry, someone dressed in a freaking headdress is not appreciation of anything. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. That's appropriation. That's the literal definition of an ornament. Like, you're dressed up as like, it's a joke. It's ridiculous.
But
like it's.
I think if the person like respects the culture. Like, I don't know. It also reminds me of that one white lady who's like, I'm black, and like, I'm like, I don't know. No one.
Rachel Dolezal. I know exactly.
Dolezal.
Yes.
And Dolezal has a fucking really interesting history.
We've talked about Rachel Dolezal on the show before too, because I find her past to be incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Because so a little bit about her past, just because I feel like it changes the way people will think of her, and not in a way where it's like, oh, what she did was right, but like I feel like, especially like Jordan talking about the psychology of why people do things, I think we'll find this interesting. She grew up in a household with black siblings who were all abused, and she was not. She grew up
adopted siblings, yes,
with an enormous sense of guilt watching them who she loved be hurt every day, when she felt like, we're the same. I don't understand this. Why am I the lucky one who's not being hurt while all of my brothers and sisters are being hurt? Right. We're not different. Like, they're my brothers and sisters. Like, she grew up with this like guilt complex over almost like survivor's guilt over having seen her siblings like abused terribly. And when I found that out, it kind of changed how I imagined her reasoning was for why she ended up.
She said flat out she felt she could help her siblings better if she were appeared as a black woman. She said she thought she could do more good for them that way than if people saw her as white. That's a strange situation.
For so long.
What?
That's a strange situation. And in the news, they don't fucking tell you that. The news just makes it a big joke.
Well, it's all the surface, man. Like,
right.
No, but like that's a good example of just you learn like just like a few more facts about a person of just like the complex like that just made it like it just that little bit was like, oh, three-dimensional person, like one-dimensional, just full
Yeah,
on
and like I said,
like
it's not like it makes it right or wrong, but I feel like it drastically changes what you think of what she turned into, because
well, yeah.
it seems like what she turned into was based on an entire lifetime of survivor's
Yeah.
guilt.
Right. She didn't act black because she thought it was cool.
To me, it almost seemed like
She wasn't
if she couldn't stop the abuse, it almost would have been better if she had been abused too, because at least she wouldn't have felt like her siblings had to deal with something that she was lucky enough to escape. And it was almost like, if I create this image, it like, because visually to her as a little kid, it was like the only difference between her and her siblings was they were black and she was not. And I feel like she was sort of trying to psychologically become one of them in a way, almost, to try and deal with those feelings of like, if my white skin is the only thing that saved me from something that tortured my siblings, I don't really know if I want that. That wasn't fair. And I just feel like that's kind of what the psychology was there. And I don't necessarily think it's right. Honestly, what I think is that she needed a fucking therapist when she probably didn't have one.
A lot of people do.
I wish people didn't need like there is just so much extra trauma because people are like stigmatized or ostracized if they're different, like if they're neurally different. Like I used to be afraid, not afraid, like ashamed of my own ADHD tendencies to just like it's like one of the like notable doctors calls it like having a Ferrari engine of a brain, but like having bicycle brakes. And that's kind of why I'm like, oh, like, but
Wow,
I don't know,
that's
man.
perfect.
People like single out weird. Like if you're weird, and like weird became such a bad word. Like when I was growing up as a teen, and I'm just like, and eventually you're lucky enough to like find artists like even Little Nas X, man. I love that music video. Like I thought it was like really clever. But like like David Bowie, like like. I don't know. You can the list goes on of just so many like Prince, just like people who just like are like no, like I'm gonna be as human as I can be in this thing. Like
I'm going to be as
in
much
my
my real
relationship with this
self.
art form.
Right. I'm going to be as much
Yeah,
as my
dude, like,
real
and
self
again,
as I can actually be and fuck what everyone thinks.
So much. No, here's how it like. We're talking about like people who break like the world up in parts. Like it sucks, but like. I don't know. Current observations is there are people who like need help. There are people who don't need help. There are people who like can give help and like are doing it. Like my mom's a nurse. Like I wish I could say that about myself. I went to nursing school and then I like switched to like fine arts, which was that's a different story. But but like there are people who want to help. Now there's this other group of people who just like want to get in the way of other people who want to help people or like just spit venom. And I'm like, and it's because they have not found their thing yet. I truly believe that. Like even that like that new Pixar movie Soul, it's like if you don't know what your purpose is, like hate's a really easy thing to cling on to. It's super it really makes you feel like you have an identity, but it's so false. So like but here's my theory too, is like I don't know. I grew up pretty like emotionally intelligent. Growing up, like I was happy to be around. Like I really think that humor, like a good like a high sense of humor, like if you laugh at like really clever, like insane stuff, even dark stuff sometimes, it's like it like shows your emotional intelligence. If you laugh at the low tier stuff, it like really it's a very big indicator for me of like, oh, okay, like we're not gonna have a fun conversation since you just laughed at that like joke that said like fag. Like but sorry, I'm ADHD.
No problem. You're in
also
good
drink
company.
tea, so the combination is no. I feel that, and like okay, theory. So like growing up, I couldn't wait to get out of my town. There was so much hate, like it was the norm. So like a lot of people are like me that grow up and are just like I'm not really digging like you know, it's kind of slim pickings in terms of like people to have conversations with, which is why this is cool. Like the whole idea of like virtually podcasting, like people are able to find their people, but like while we were all finding our people and getting away from our towns and the people we didn't like, they all just stayed behind and like hung out with each other and valid and like snowballed those ideas, made them boulders, made them icebergs, made them like glaciers, man, like
Mountains.
these just immovable ideologies. And it's because we excluded them too, because they were annoying or abrasive. And it's like, if I can, like, I don't know, man, I had to move back home after the pandemic began. I'm speaking to you freshly broken up, like freshly brokenhearted, and like that's how the pandemic started for me. Like I just broke up with like my girlfriend before that, and I had to move back home. And my dad's a Trump supporter. Like I used to make this joke of like he's my Uncle Tamagotchi dad.
Oh man,
which I like. I'm just a wordplay guy, but I love him, and I love all the people in my family who are conservative or who have ideologies that are just so backwards and I get it. I felt that stuff. I experienced that stuff too, and like I don't know. I think it's possible for us to grow out of this. I think we all like. You asked me like, what can you guys do at people that look like you? And I'm just like, talk to the people. I can't talk to them. Like I feel afraid to go up to the people that you're just kind of annoyed at. That's like, you're like, I can't deal with this right now. Well, it's like some people, like if you're just leaving them bubbling hatred alone, going on more of their forums, like getting that like echo chamber, like validation of just really shitty, like honestly just like humanity degrading things about other people who like just based on what, like I think just going up to him and being like, hey man, I don't know, that's kind of what I try to erode. I'm like, but my dad's not budging, he just loves that shit, which is
well, if anything, that's why I'm proud of this show and everybody on it, is because this is a place that we've developed where we can have these conversations and ask the fucking questions that are uncomfortable and and talk about these things and talk through them and grow and hopefully help others understand. I hope so.
Yeah, no, dude, I appreciate that.
I hope so.
That would be awesome. That'd be like I would talk about that awesomeness.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. As things get worse, they also get better. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like we're just getting. There are people who are getting as much as there are hateful people in the world. I can't let myself forget that. Like, there are people working on the virus. Like,
right.
There are people just constantly doing that. Like they spent their whole lives up to to this point, like figuring out how to get into that room to be able to do that.
Right.
And like.
Right.
I don't know, man. You like
it's easy
Mr.
to
Rogers
forget.
To look for the helpers.
Sure.
Like
it's easy to forget that there's.
Imagine being the person working on that virus as a scientist, or as somebody who actually had the gear to want to like go into that realm and spend their lives in college learning all of that shit.
And to come use those neurons for like anything you love. Like you could have loved other shit.
Right? To come out of that and have half of a nation downplay everything you're fucking doing.
Well,
like,
oh my God.
That's insane to me.
Hey, me too.
That's absolutely insane to me that we've hit a level of doubt and mistrust and questioning to where
it was systematic, dude. It was on purpose. So like, of course,
right?
Like people who had power were afraid to like. It's crazy because I do think the Industrial Revolution had to happen. I think the Enlightenment had to happen. I think everything, weird. Like I don't think everything had to happen, but I think like everything that has happened, we've now come to a place. Like, it is 2021 Anno Domini. Like, and there is peace. There are pockets of peace everywhere in the world. So like, what is up? What are we not sharing? What are the people in peace? We're talking on camera right now. I'm in a blanket. Like, there are people going through like some of the most heinous shit right now. Like, why? What are they missing in their education? Like, my education sucked, but it made me. It still just was good enough to make me like not have insane like unfounded hatred for people, and like that was hard too. That's still a hard thing, especially hate, like to try to not hate the hateful.
Sure.
Because it's like, because Sarah Silverman talks about it. She like talks about this guy who used to be a Nazi, and she's like, they just don't have a way out. Like some of them just don't have ways out. And when you finally give them that, like, be like, hey, like we'll accept you. We know you did. Like people make mistakes. Like
Yeah.
we all like entertain shitty ideas for like chunks of time,
Yeah.
and then find out we're wrong, and then like it's cool when you have the grace to admit it and and own like your imperfection as a like we're all blanks, like slates into this world, tabula rasa, you know, like I don't know, man. I just thought, I think if we had like a grand reset, if we all could just turn into babies at once, we'd all be like,
Oh my God, I know, right? So listen, man.
With the technology that exists, just like one like tutorial video, just being like, hey guys,
Hey,
like,
this is how to be a human being.
yeah.
So
I don't know.
we're getting pretty late here. So a couple of things here. Jordan, I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, in the chat, and you know, Mike Pepe said, "What about a kid dressed as Mona or Maui?" Robert Emmett Kelly said, "You don't think you get." I probably didn't pronounce it right. I'm sorry. You pronounce it then. I'm sorry.
I like Mona.
Is there anything you want to promote? Anything that people where people should find you and your stuff and your work?
I guess right now the best place is just my Instagram. Like,
And what is it?
It's a spirit.mango. So it's a sorry, the comments are distracting. I get so self-conscious. I saw like a comment who's like, he's talking about nothing to no one, or like, I paraphrase that. But
did you see a comment that you want to address?
Know, man. I did it, but like, no, I should explain like 80. I keep bringing it up, but it's like,
Please.
It's a literal like physical, like my prefrontal cortex just doesn't fire as well as
Hey, dude, I'm not trying to cut you off. You could talk all night.
Oh, he's
if you
not
want.
talking about me. Okay, I'm seeing it. I'm sorry. I should like no. I'm very distractible, and which has helped with art or been destructive. But spirit.mango, spirit.mango.
So
took a long time to spell that.
I have another suggestion, and I feel like it's gonna be worrisome.
Okay.
So you're gonna perform tonight, right?
Oh yeah. No,
I feel like
down.
you need to get off Skype and call back in.
Okay.
Only because your feed is getting really broken up, and I feel like if you reconnect that feed, it'll be better, because I don't want you to do a song and have it be really choppy.
No, I appreciate because I would love to do some music.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if,
All right.
yeah, just hang up and call us right back, because I got stuff I can promote.
I'm so sorry. I'm just reading the.
No, you're good.
Pardon, guys. I'm anything just like bright and shiny and like. All right, so I'll come back.
Yes.
In like a second.
Come right back, because I have a bunch of things to say while you're doing that.
Okay.
All right. So number one, the first thing that I want to say is I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Thank everybody for sharing tonight. And I want to say how proud I am of everybody on this show. Because like I said before, I feel like, you know, this show, we talk about things that are difficult, and we ask questions that are difficult, yet we're still able to keep it respectable. And respect one another and love one another in the end. And I think that that's fucking hugely important and very difficult to do. And I think that we are able to do it through channels that get accused of.
It's so hard to love you guys.
No shit. But I do want to thank everybody for watching tonight and sharing tonight and commenting tonight and talking tonight. Jordan is going to call back in. Sarah, let me know when Jordan's back on the feed.
Am I on still?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
you
he's
are.
on. Good, awesome.
Oh, okay, cool. I can see myself on the group thing, but I know that that's not the one. That's all right. So how does it sound? Is
It's
it
way
still
better
kind of
now.
breaky?
Way better
Okay,
now.
cool.
So, if there's nothing anybody else wants to promote, if there's anything anybody wants to close with,
Nope.
okay. Jordan is going to perform tonight, so I'm going to ask you guys on the Skype feed to please mute yourselves so that you don't accidentally interrupt his feed. And Jordan, can you talk a little bit about what you're going to do?
I don't know. I like tonight's discussion definitely like put me in a different mood. I was gonna do like really silly. I mean, I'll still do some silly stuff, but I was just gonna like make some music backdrop. Like Mitch Hedberg used to get like a guy who played like stand-up bass, and he would just do like it was one-liners. So I'm kind of just gonna read off some one-liners that I've been working on to music, and if like I don't know. I was gonna say like if everyone's done with that, like just wave your arms, visual. It's like because I can't hear anybody, and I was like, that's a weird idea. Like why? Okay. Yeah. So
You
I
go
just have
for
a
it.
looper here. All right. So I'm gonna take off this headphones. That I have like two headphones on. Okay. I'll just do a beatbox warm up just to like get
Dope.
so
Dope.
I just found out. Squirtles urinate via their mouths. I mean, turtles urinate via their mouths. That's a true fact. It's a fact I recently found online when I was Googling stuff. It's turtles actually there's a species of turtles that like can pee out of their mouths, so like Squirtles are the most realistic Pokemon, technically. This is weird not seeing anyone now. I feel very alone. I know I'm not. I see like the number out of the number, so I have no idea how people are reacting, but I'm just gonna keep going. My favorite '90s myth was Atlantis Morissette. That's Atlantis Morissette. Favorite '90s myth. Okay. Do you guys think like AI? It's weird to like not have a like you spend many years doing a thing and you usually get like a reaction. Oh my god, that's perfect. And LOL is it. That's currency. So like you guys think like when AI becomes like sentient and like it starts to learn how to drive, it's gonna have to get like a machine learner's permit. That's a comp sci joke for those comp sci nerds out there. So like I feel like breakdancers are just really fast mimes. I feel like breakdancers are just the fastest mimes that our culture has to offer, and like the coolest ones definitely. They're the least scary. Do you guys ever wonder what Kenny Loggins' password is? That's a word joke, and usually half of the people in the whole world get that. So let's see. Let's just. Not a said be tripping, so am I. Then why are you acting the way that you do? I thought you were tripping. Oh, I guess you're tripping on the wrong stuff. Yeah, my name is Douchebag, Pipe Dreams, first name Douche, last name Dreams, middle name Bagpipe, Douchebag, Pipe Dreams. I put the ointment in disappointment. I put the man in manic depression. Yeah, I put the taint in uncertainty. It's in there if you think about it. I used to watch Friends and I realized I wanted to be an action comedy star, but I also wanted to be as funny as Chandler, so I realized that my persona is Jackie Chandler Bing. Yeah, Jackie Chandler Bing, if he could sing. Yeah, Jackie Chandler Bing. Okay. So like I'm so Asian American. My favorite Decepticon was Scantron. I used to work at this sarcastic Chinese food place. It was so sarcastic. We sold General So and So's chicken. So like one time a girl went up to me and she's like, "Are you Chinese?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Are you sure?" And it completely blew my brain open. I wasn't sure about my identity. I've never stopped thinking about what am I? Who am I? Like, never questioned. She made me like sign up for an intro to philosophy class, like at Brookdale at like my community college. And I was like, oh wow, okay, I'm going off the rails. Not cocaine rails. I've never done that. Never tried that. Feel like okay to the this is a song, this is a quick song joke. All the BGs giving BJs. That's it. That's a quick song joke. Okay, so like, all right, that one's done, now I don't know why I hold the jokes that I've done in my hand. Oh, this is a okay, I'm trying to remember this. This is a joke I started telling before the pandemic started, and it's still rusty. But you guys, you know what? I've just been rusty this whole time, so I'm just gonna let myself be rusty, like salad fingers, and so so like, you guys ever hear that like Beyonce song like All Night, where it's like she's like I have a computer right here. I don't have to be nervous and be like, I don't remember anything. Just let me get the lyrics real quick, because I have to read like this phrase from this Beyonce song because it's important to me. Beyonce, oh, this is so unprofessional, but like, I don't know, man. I don't have a job. So I'm unprofessional. Okay, so this is the second verse. Our love was stronger than your pride. Beyond your darkness, I'm your light. If you get deep, you touch my mind. Baptize your tears and dry your eyes. Okay, so third line in that phrase, it's if you get deep, you touch my mind. Like, that's beautiful. Like, on one level, Beyonce is saying, like, Jay-Z, when you say like these deep, profound, meaningful things, like, I understand you. I see you. I get it. And on like another level, she's saying Jay-Z's cock is so big that like kind of bypasses her and like touches her brain, like is non-lethally, mind you. So I don't know. That's cool, man. The power of hip hop and R&B. So this is okay. I have new jokes, and I just guys, you're the first people I've performed for and like had fun in like a while. So like, I really hope you guys. I can't can't really hear you, but I hope you know that I'm rooting for all of you as audience members to enjoy this, hopefully, because I don't know what I'm doing. So, just to boost the confidence. And so yeah, I'm still looking at the Beyonce lyrics. I have to look at these real. Okay, so I got like really heavy into conspiracy theories, man. Like this last year, I think a lot of people did. A lot of regular people who never were into this stuff just got into it. Like I woke up one morning and I was like, maybe it is Maybelline. Like maybe this whole time, like it was just in our faces, and like, okay, I see you laughing. That means a lot. Like, I can't. This is so trip. This is so Black Mirror. Oh my God, Black Mirror. When people talk about or when people just like say like they just like stuff words together. Like I don't know if you guys like catch this, but like anyone who's like advertising for 5-hour energy drink, like I'm pronouncing it like a human being, 5-hour energy drink. And if you listen to any of the commercials, they always just like mash it together and they're always just like 5-hour. And like they're trying to like talk about that football player, Brett Favre. And like, it's just, like Brett 5-hour energy drink. I think he's my, like, just my favorite white name is that. Like, it's my favorite Caucasoid. No one ever says Caucasoid, but like that's a word. I always got confused with the whole Caucasian thing. I was like, that sounds too sexy. Like, okay, I honestly, man, let me just. I'm definitely now. You all know that like, I wrote like all of these. I like repeat jokes like. I forget that I write them down, so then like I just have like 5. Like I'm gonna do this one real quick. Come. So that's my very short Nirvana cover, immature 3rd grade thing that I do to cheer myself up. Day-o, me said day, me said day, me said day, me said Jar Jar Binks. Okay, so that one's a lot of these are just like musical. Yeah. So my ex, I can tell this joke before that becomes irrelevant. So like this is because it's timely. Comedy is timely, and we just broke up, but like we're both getting over it. We're gonna get over it, Like so, like, this is like where I'm into woo woo stuff, but then sometimes I get a little side eye, like what, like, and like recently, like my ex was like, you're cosmically connected to Jodie Foster, and I was like really actually excited about that, but I don't know. I don't know if it's something I can like. It did make me feel like I don't know about this whole thing. I don't think we're all that interconnected. I don't know if Jodie Foster would answer me if I emailed her, which I should just email Jodie Foster. Just be like, you changed my life, not that much, but like enough, like. Oh my God! I'm glad that worked. That was a flip of a coin. Most of these are flips of the coin. This is a dumb one, but maybe you'll like it. I wanted it. I have like this fantasy to like. I don't get it either. I have this fantasy to like have the stage name the whole fucking week, and I just want my catchphrase to be like, "Look out, the weekend! I'm the whole fucking week," and and just like make slightly better music, but like, yeah, I promised that I would do something with the words digitally and visually in the beginning with the like. So let's try that. And let me know, like, just start waving. That's what I want, because I never know when like I'm done. Seriously, so like, just start waving hand. Just be like, no, stop this. Just like do like all the symbols if I'm going on too long, because like it happens. Someone was talking about like XY, like divorce. Like I used to be married. And then like I wasn't because like my ex-wife, like she started like she's like dating this lawyer, and like I was such a mean ex, like I was like so mean, and like I don't know, like I have to own up to like the fact that like I was like, but she was like fucking, she was fucking a lawyer, you know. So like in my defense, like she was fucking a lawyer, but now in her defense is a fucking lawyer, like lawyer that is doing that to her. It hurt. Anyway, yeah, that was the. You guys ever do like LSD at a gay pride parade, and everyone's like, we're here, we're queer, and you're just like, wait, like, let's go back to the we're here part, because like I accept the we're queer part, but like the we're here is mind-boggling right now. I just want to take just a step back, because like we are here. Okay, and we're clear, and we're queer. I'm a little bit. But man, I mean, I'm Filipino. Come on, can you? That's a cultural thing. That's a weird cultural thing about my own culture, is that there's just like this accepted like branch of like feminine men, but there's still so much homophobia. So I'm like, which is it, guys? Like, come on. Like, all right. Imagine being like God, but being blind and having to get like an all-seeing eye dog. Like, that's probably not that easy. I'm so grateful, because I've been trying to figure out how to like a way to make that joke work, and it seemed to. So thank you. No, this is like insane. Oh man, I really appreciate. I just keep going. All right. Digitally, visually. All right. Digitally, visually, picture your past, going by fast. Everything lasts, everything ends. I got no friends, I got all my friends in my head and out of my head. I feel I'm out of my head again, out of my head. At least I'm out of my bed. It took a long time for that, a long time for this to click, a long time to know that I deserve to exist. See, I want to make like corny stuff, but like not too corny. But like, I don't know, man. I think Mr. Rogers was right. I think every single person is like, deserves to be here, even if you're an asshole. Like that's that's the crazy thing. I've been an asshole most of my life, and like I'm finally learning how to like. I finally read enough Eckhart Tolle to be like, or is it? See, I could be accidentally making fun of this guy's name. It's Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. either way, power of now, man. Like it's.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard because once I said the corny like beautiful thing that was like that like felt genuine for me to say because I've been like writing positive affirmation to like reverse these negative thoughts like for days, for months, like and like. Yeah, for maybe actually no, I can say years. It's been years since I started doing, since I like made the decision to be like, I'm just gonna go full corny, full cornball, just like love my like despite all the like I don't know, man. Again, that chatter, like all those different voices that are just like you're not good enough. You're not doing like you're not doing what you're supposed to. It's like
I don't know, man. Like I think if every single individual learned how to be kind to themselves, we wouldn't have any of this hate bullshit. Like I believe that. Like everyone would just be like playing basketball or something. Like I don't mean to like I don't know. It's just I'm tired of this. I want to do comedy again. Like there's so many people who got to do comedy in like a peaceful world, like those fucking 80s guys. Like relatively peaceful, and it's just really it's been really condensed like hellish these last few years, man. Like for I'm sorry to go up and down. I've been also diagnosed with bipolar. 3 therapists, psychologists, diagnosed me with bipolar, and 5 were like ADHD. So it's, who wins? Who knows? I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I'm talking now and I'm totally just done with everything of being funny, so I'm gonna come back into the headphones where I can communicate, because I do get creeped out by like the silence of non-response. See, even symbols are like really meaningful when you're like when you go into that weird, I don't know. I still Okay, I'm back.
That was
Dude,
fucking
that was
amazing.
great, dude.
That was fucking awesome, man. That was fucking awesome.
I do know that felt really good. I started getting nervous again, but like again, it's like mostly due to I think like the biological association to like silence on stage.
You're your own worst critic because everyone
Oh,
else.
definitely. Most definitely. But it's getting easy. Like I'm finally learning how to like I'm learning the difference between that voice and like who's like that's the Eckhart Tolle thing. He's like the thing that flipped for him. He's like, wait, there's 2 of me. He's like, I can't live with myself. And it's just like, no, like there's a witness. There's something inside of all of us that's just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I on my phone? Like, why am I doom scrolling? Like, what is that? Like, what is this like weird like? We get like possessed sometimes. Like it just like takes and I know it's a lot of it's escapism and just trying to like feel anything. Yeah. But it's like it's crazy, dude. It's like I used to work at a camp. Like that was the most human place I ever got to be, where people are just hanging out on porches and like coloring and like playing with string or whatever. And it's just like, why aren't towns like that? Like why
I'm
is it?
just imagining a bunch of people hanging out playing with strings, and it's like a really bizarre image.
It's like I'm like visualizing like just the first like people like doing the friendship bracelets, but it's like, and I know that's very idealistic.
Friendship bracelets was interpreted as people playing with strings.
Yeah, yeah. You guys could have pictured like a string quartet, like that's Ultimate Peace. That's how you knew that it was a boost camp.
It could have been taken in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Dude, that was
thank
so
you.
great, man.
I appreciate the chance to do that again, because I haven't performed for people who, enjoyed it for a while. It's like streaming has been very strange, and I don't know. It's hard to get used to.
Sure.
Like I truly believe that there's like a feedback loop of energy that you feel in a room when like you hit a flow with an audience, and like I don't know, I can't wait for that to come back, like
it will
in whatever form it does.
We're
like,
getting
I know
there.
It will. Like
we're getting there.
We are resilient. Like the people, our ancestors were all little rodents,
The fact that human beings have lasted this long despite how fucking stupid we are overall, says a lot about how resilient we are, I think.
Well, yeah, no, like I think this one philosopher. It is late. This is my last thing that I wanted.
Go
to
for it, please.
The fact that we have all this brutal shit like war and stuff. There's this one philosopher who like talked about. I can't remember his name, so it completely invalidates all of this. But no, it's just like the fact that we're all still alive. That war didn't tear us apart.
Yeah,
like it could have. We created nuclear weapons and we're all still here.
Right.
Like the beat poets were called the beat poets because they were done. Like we write poetry. We can't fight people with nukes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. I have hope that like the people that are helping are gonna keep helping.
Robert Emmett Kelly just said we're resilient like a disease.
Well, I mean,
That's
that's the thing about the disease too. It's like that disease is fighting for its life as well.
Yeah,
like it's its own sentient being trying to like have its own offsprings, and it's like,
I know.
Yeah, but we're using these right now, so
I know.
But anyway,
dude, thank you so much, man.
Yes,
that was so great.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. I'm always very self-conscious about talking too much, but I felt pretty safe
you're in
here.
the right fucking place for that, man.
And you definitely do not
was really
overtalk
good.
at any point.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe 1 point, but
Well, listen, you guys don't have to get off the Skype if you don't want to. I'm going to wrap the show up on my end here. But I want to say, Jordan, thank you so much for being here tonight, dude. And I hope that you'll come back again.
I appreciate the invite. I appreciate seeing you guys today. I hope everyone's doing well.
Robert
good
Emmett
luck
Kelly.
to you, dude.
By the way, Robert Emmett Kelly is the guy who did the song about a year ago, "Stay the Fuck at Home." He was the older gentleman with the beard. Is like, "Stay the fuck at home." Yeah, he's the dude. He just said your act is dope. So.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you something. That guy is a TikTok.
Thank you.
Like legend. He's got 500,000 followers on TikTok.
No, dude, I love that guy.
Yeah,
oh my God,
he's awesome. So follow him on TikTok at Recording with a K.
Dude, I'm gonna write that down. No, yeah. Thank you.
But I want to say thank you so much, and thank you again to everybody who watched and commented and shared and all that stuff. And please follow us. And please follow Jordan. And we will be back again live in 2 weeks. And we absolutely love you all. And again, you guys in the Skype, you can hang if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show myself. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful night.
I don't believe in love.
Still will, kill, swill, blood stains, cheap thrills. Beat the fuck out your boyfriend at Mill Hill.
We're at the Mill Hill where we happen to kill it. Back and we fillin' with the illest, chillin' with the realest music crew. Real as a film and it's feeling like a movie too. Shooting to the moon and my dude lagoon is booming through. In a van with weed man, feeling like it's Scooby-Doo. We found a spot when we turned around the block like Rubik's Cube. See the bass bumping when it rumbles with the thunder sound. Music coming out from the basement cause it's underground. Searching to kill, holding urban to bill. There ain't a hole in my pocket when I'm burning a mill. Stairwell blazing weed, y'all blatantly won't take a stairwell cause my eyes shoot laser beams. It's Frankie B, always reppin' out Team Rock set. Feel the draft even if you tape the doors like rock cassette. Dropping bread like Uma Thurman when I kill Bill. $1 at a time till we got a Mill Hill. Yeah, when the beat drops in the stairwell, we twist up the sweet pot. Yeah, when the beat drops, if the door locks, it opens with 3 knocks. Yeah, when the beat drops, 4 sticker balls around the stage, we rock. Yeah, when the beat drops, it's a Mill Hill set. We'll make you wanna rewatch.
Tupac the tour rock, the dinosaur hunter. Dudes stuck in their wonder years, mistook it for hunger. Mill Hill is the headquarters for old heads and youngsters. The basement is for hip hop, but it was founded by punkers. I've been there every night for a decade and a half. Drowning Spinning my sorrows while still laughing at crap. Used to run out on my tab, now I'm part of the staff. Lied on my resume, got by on basic math. Enticed by the drink, seduced by the music. Always open doors back up after a shooting. Sometimes I got a box, but it's still the spot that's soothing. Who would have thought a dark, dirty basement would move me? Been all around the globe eating bohemian pizza. Paris is a runner-up, but Stripe, Trenton needs ya. A city full of artists, but it's not for the weak, bruh. The Mill Hill basement, South Broad Street, love.
Yeah, when the beat drops in the stairwell, we twist up the sweet pot. Yeah, when the beat drops, if the door locks, it opens with 3 knocks. Yeah, when the beat drops, 4 sticker balls around the stage we rock. Yeah, when the beat drops, it's a Mill Hill set. We'll make you wanna rewatch. Yeah,
Will kill, swill, blood stains, cheap thrills. Beat the fuck out your boyfriend at Mill Hill. Still will kill, swill, blood stains, cheap thrills. Beat the fuck out your boyfriend at Mill Hill.
Awesome talk. We got some awesome talk today. Awesome talk, oh awesome talk. You all like the way we talk. It's awesome, awesome talk, oh awesome talk. You like the way we awesome talk. It's awesome talk, fucking awesome talk. You like the way we talk. It's fucking awesome. Ooh.